Hello, everyone. I'll let you get to our final retrospective for our Deadlands game of Sounds Like Crows in a minute here. But first, I'd like to give you an update on our upcoming campaign, which will be here early next year. We've been hard at work at production, and I'm excited to show you what we have. However, if you are looking for more content, I've been really enjoying our Mouse Guard series that's on our Patreon. We also have masks coming out there soon, which was inspired by this game that I ran for Delinquent Comics. Part 1 and 2 are out now. They invited me on as a guest GM to run a game for their main characters for their actual play, right? It wasn't like a one-off non-canonical thing. They were like, hey, these are our characters. We trust you. Run a game for us. And I said, that's your first mistake. And one of my favorite games I think I've ever run, like one of the best one-shots I've ran. It was a blast. You can check that out in the show notes, or if you go to Delinquent Comics, the session is titled The Death of Burnout, Issues 1 and 2. But without further ado, the retrospective. Hello, everyone. I'm Caleb Sunstead. We're doing a retrospective of our last 2 seasons of Sounds Like Crows. Well, honestly, the whole show. Every time we've had someone different host. And so today,
I'm hosting.
No, incorrect. The host of this episode is Alexandria Magent. Thanks for showing up, Alex. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Woo.
I'm doing pretty good. Eventually, I will be able to steal the hosting privileges from one of our hosts.
Cameron's going to try.
It's not yet.
Better watch
It's
out.
not
You're
how
never
I'm
going to
doing
be the
it
host,
all.
dude. Why would you be the host?
But Alex has been doing a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff for us for the last season, 2 seasons. It's been a year, however long you've been with the show. I'm excited to do this. We've got a bunch of questions from you folks. We've got some questions that we've done, and we'll try to get through most of them. Without further ado, Alex, take us away.
Well, hello, guys. I'd like to start with thanks to the listeners so much for all of our questions. We have a lot. I think we'll have a lot of fun getting these answered. I took some liberties with the questions and combined them. So if any wording is changed for the listeners, we really appreciate you
blame
guys.
Alex
But,
for that.
you know, we gotta.
Yeah, you should have wrote it better, probably.
Well, I was,
that's on
Caleb,
you.
you took the words right out of my mouth. Just as a general point of advice, if you're
Just do
writing
better,
in
listeners.
questions
Just do
to
better.
a show, you should write good questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just slightly better. But, you know,
yes,
that's my
yes.
job as EP is to make things better. Right?
I don't mean
So-
to belabor the point, but if you write in questions to a show, you should write good questions.
Dude, you're
Yeah.
belaboring. Stop belaboring.
I don't know what that word means.
Me neither. Let's answer some fucking questions.
Let's see.
She just deleted them all.
You know, guys. Oops. Well, let's do a crew question from listener Dustin. What would have had to happen in order for you to give the crows a more peaceful ending?
Yeah, okay. Like that was ever going to happen. Like that was ever an option.
How long
Dustin.
is this supposed to
I thought it was
last,
an
Caleb?
option.
How long do we got to talk on this subject, Alex? Do we have like a time limit?
No, I think I'm going to try and redirect you guys if I feel like it goes crazy, but
Because I feel like there's a lot that would have needed to happen, right?
Yeah, the crows would have had to have 2 better parents.
For starters, that would have been great.
I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, because I was thinking we didn't start the show with the premise that everyone was going to hate each other by the end.
Yeah, for sure.
No, we
Right?
did not.
Like
No way.
we built in conflict to a ton of the characters, more than we ever do, probably. I don't think we ever like, all these characters are going to fucking hate each other. It just happened.
And I feel like it was all written in the idea that like these conflicts are going to work themselves out by the end of the show. And then
Yeah,
we'll all be
yeah.
like best buds. And
And
like
we
it'll be
talked
like a
about
really
that.
good
Boy,
thing.
did they not.
And they didn't. In fact, we just got more conflicted on way more topics than was expected.
The witch was very instrumental. Ellis dying and becoming Harrowed was very, I don't know. You take out either of those things, I'm not sure what would have happened, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I could see us going
I don't
very
know if
different
it ever would have been more peaceful, though. Like, sure, we might have had less infighting amongst ourselves, but in what world do the crows find out that Crane assassinated their mother and they don't do exactly what they did?
Yeah, good point.
You know, like we were
Good
gonna
point.
fucking hang his ass no matter what.
Yeah, you're probably
We
right.
would have needed to have like 3 or 4 different brothers just change who they were fundamentally for us to come at that in any other
Yeah,
way.
most definitely.
He would have died, but I could see a world where we end up with him on trial and like the final scene is them hanging him in whatever the state capitol is. You know what I mean? Like formally
Yeah.
doing
Yeah,
that.
if season 1
What a
Harper
chill
managed to
ending.
convince everybody to be cool before he lost his shit.
Well,
Dude, I think if Abel died at any point before season 2, it could have ended that way.
Ooh.
Ironically, the judge dying is what gives us the most political or like the most judicial ending.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think we talk about it a lot. If Lori hadn't messed up her healing roll, which put her on the worst track
we
for
would
you
have
guys,
hated her still, dude.
I think,
we would
Nah,
have
I
hated
think
her
that would
still.
have
Hated her
changed a
still.
whole lot for the story. You know what I mean?
I think at first Thaddeus was just being kind of petty about how bad she was at it. And then before he could, come around to just being decent, Lucky had basically kicked him out. And then we had all that static going on at the train. And then from then on, there was just no chance to.
I feel like this
We're gonna
never
come
gets
back.
cleared up, so I'm going to clear it up now. Lucky didn't hate Laurie at any point. It was that we were on a tail for murder.
Yeah.
And I feel like Lucky just did not want anyone else involved in what was more or less a death sentence for the boys.
Didn't really want his brothers involved either, right?
No. So anyone extracurricular was more or less just like, hey, move along. You don't want to be a part of what
Everybody
we're
else
about
would
to
have been a
do.
distraction. Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to bring one person and they immediately drowned to death.
Oh,
The one time we tried.
oh man.
Not immediately.
That's
not
No,
immediately.
literally immediately.
little
We
while.
said, hey, do you want to come with us to this thing? She said, yeah. She got on the boat and then she drowned to death. That's pretty immediate.
We had a couple
Got 'em.
scenes.
It was
and,
within-
Yeah,
You
but we didn't bring her along before
me
then.
and
Is what I
Thaddeus
think.
had
yeah.
like
Right.
Spend time with her.
lizard eating scene too.
But we didn't
in there.
involve
It was
her in
good.
our stuff for a while there.
You guys ate a lizard?
On a stick, I think, right? That
Yeah,
was part
we
of it.
did.
Yeah, I think that was a part. That was
Cool.
a scene at some point.
Lost Angels.
That was a weird season. Okay, don't don't worry
we
about
had just
that
been in
season.
prison for like who knows how long. We had to get out and do weird shit.
Yeah, that was when we were really.
We were all
that
really
was really
anxious
when we were
about-
flexing our legs.
We were all really anxious about assaulting the fortress. So yeah, well, fuck it, let's eat
yeah,
some
let's
lizards,
see.
dude.
I think it was a lizard on a stick, and it was like Los Angeles or something.
But yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, man.
No way. No peaceful
way.
ending. No way.
No way.
It was a
Wouldn't have
tale
been
of
peaceful.
revenge.
It could have been happier, but not peaceful.
So you don't think they could have had a more peaceful ending if they hadn't killed Lori?
I do not.
No.
I do not. I think we would have definitely.
Well, I mean,
viciously
I
murdered.
feel
Might have
like it
been more
it-
peaceful for.
It would have been
the
more
audience.
peaceful
People
for
would've-
Lori.
Yeah, Lori would have been
yes.
happier.
Yes. Yes.
That's fair.
And like the story would have felt nicer, but Crane's still getting brutally murdered.
And y'all are still going to be fugitives from killing a governor, right?
Well, to be fair, I don't think we should have been fugitives because he literally led a rebellion to.
Which is-
Ooh, untrue.
Yeah,
he emancipated his state from the country.
He was trying to.
Yeah, I feel like both sides of the
But
Confederacy and the
his
Union would be
trajectory-
like, thanks for dealing
So,
with that problem for us, dickheads.
I agree with you up until the point where he gets killed. And anytime you kill a politician, like all of their sins sort of immediately get swept under the
They're
rug.
martyred.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
except if we
Without
were friends
without
with
a trial,
Eliza.
yeah.
She's got the biggest casino in the Midwest, basically. She probably knows some politicians.
Dude, she hates
And- yeah,
us.
yeah,
she
in
hates.
Right,
this
but if
world,
we had-
that wouldn't work out.
if we had gone
but in
that
the happier
political
one,
route-
you know,
Yeah, and done the trial and the hanging and like we could have had that ending, but no.
I think,
Abel could have been in
glad
like
we
an official
didn't.
judge or something like that,
glad
and
we
we
didn't
could have
have
tried
that
him in the
ending.
streets.
I think the bottom line is that we just liked that kind of drama. We liked the conflict. We really liked where
Yeah.
the crows were going, and everybody at the table just leaned into it.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot more peaceful if that's what everybody wanted, but we didn't want
yeah, who
that.
gives a shit about that?
Yeah.
I think that's a great point. I think once we all sort of realized what story we were telling, because whoever said it, I think Cameron, you said it, that originally when we did our all of our prep, the idea was that our characters would like resolve their problems over the show. So we wanted to
Yeah.
start with a bunch of problems. We thought that was super cool. And then once it became evident that that's not the way this is going to go, it just, I think everyone kind of aligned that it felt like a more interesting story to not.
Yeah, and I mean there definitely was that scene where Crane was more or less like putting us on a bounty hunter mission. That I feel like there could have been a split right there, maybe.
Yeah.
I would say that was probably the
He
closest.
was
line,
already
'cause-
extorting Abel, though.
Yeah, and then at that point it was just
there's
like,
no
well,
chance.
yeah, what are you gonna do? But Lucky was full heart. I had no idea why Lucky would have continued going, so I tried to play the other route, but it just wasn't gonna happen. I think Marshall said it too, where it's like 3 brothers just needed to fundamentally change.
Any 3 of them. Because any three of them could have helped the other two, but like,
Yeah.
it had to be a majority.
A follow-up question to that. If you could do one thing differently, what would you change about the campaign?
That is a broad stroke.
I know.
I think I should have set up season 3 and 4 earlier on because it felt like season 2 ended and then there was just kind of nothing until Tabitha showed up and Grace died, you know?
Sure.
You know, if all of those, if like the Upright Gang had been set up in season 1
Yeah.
or had been set up in season 2 or the Reverend had been set up.
That would have been great.
Yeah, I think that's something I'd like to do differently in the future.
We're going to fix that in the TV show.
Oh, yeah. That Reverend on the train after the judge, we get a little thing there.
Yeah.
True. That's something I'd do is I'd set up that shit or change it to something different in there that was set up earlier.
Just to like make it like more organic, I guess.
Yeah, because it sort of felt like Avengers 2, right? Where Ultron shows up and you're like, what
most
the fuck?
definitely.
I don't care about this guy. Who gives a shit about this? Because like it's not a setup and then it doesn't carry forward, right? Like Tabitha carried forward, but Mondragon doesn't carry forward.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know.
I think
I
that's
realized
a
some
fair
of like
criticism.
my favorite storytelling. It like sets it up during the middle of like different arcs and stuff like that where you're like, who's this character? Why do I care about them? And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't care about them. Yeah, again, where were we? And then it comes up later on and you're like, I remember you.
Yeah.
You, I know you and I hate you.
Speaking of memories, what happened to Old Boot and his memories? Did someone do him dirty and erase his memory? Agency shenanigans?
Oh, they want to know about inclination, dude.
My thought was there's this creature called the Dust Devil, right? Which removes things from existence, which is just a trope I've used in every single game I've ever run. I love it. It's very Doctor Who, you know. The idea was that creature got rid of inclination, removed it from existence. And I did that to set up that's a thing that exists in this version of the Deadlands universe so that when we got to the Spades deck, that would make more sense. And it would be established instead of it being like, what the fuck, I can do that now.
So the Dust Devil erased inclination, thereby erasing all of the history of it, which was where Old Boot spent his entire life. So he lost all of his memories in the moment that it was erased. Right?
Right.
So
And
that
so,
left
like,
him with nothing.
And yet, maybe it's beyond his memories even. I don't know. It's all wibbly wobbly, right? But like,
Right.
I think like he literally didn't have kids, right? Like he used to, and then now he never did.
Right.
So what happens if you go there? You go to that exact spot.
There's just nothing there because the town was never built there.
What?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah.
Just never was.
Sheesh.
It just wasn't. The people who were supposed
Fuck
to go
the
there
Dust
didn't.
Devil, dude. I don't
We
wanna
could have
mess with
got
that
straight
guy.
erased, but instead it erased some dickhead reporter that was with us or
anybody
something.
catch Caleb was setting up
I
that sandstorm
forgot
coming
about
into
that
town?
guy. Oh, that's pretty lore accurate. I
Yeah.
forgot about him completely.
Yeah, that was real fucked up, dude.
That was
I
fun.
definitely really enjoyed that first session of like everyone was like, so wait, what is going on? And then Caleb just kept going with it and I was like, dude,
Yeah, that
I
was a
forgot
great-
about this game. I have no fucking
I
clue what's
love
happening
playing
right now.
with like the way RPGs are structured, right? Because like I forget shit between session to session, right? So it's like it's plausible that you'd show up and be like, oh yeah, this guy who was with you, you know, and he'd be like, I don't fucking remember, but I guess, you
Yeah,
know?
and I think more or less everyone was just like, just fucking, I don't know, go with it. I'm sure he'll wrap it up. He's doing something, I guess.
Very much so.
He's making a play. He's making a play.
Yeah, yeah, it was something. If I could change anything, I guess we're going back to season 3, but I really wish I fleshed out the priest a lot more. Or at least set it up like you were talking about. Because that was kind of supposed to be Lucky's character moment, I guess. Or like at least backstory moment.
You know it's good when you say it in that tone of voice.
And I'm still ultimately fine with how Lucky turned out, but that was definitely a backstory moment that I feel like I could have fleshed out a lot more. I don't think it got the same kind of gravitas that I was going for, or at least when I was creating that storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had listeners ask a question, which I mean, this leads perfectly into. They said, so we learned a little about Lucky and his backstory involving the Upright Gang, but can you expand a little bit more on his backstory and how it led to him being adopted by Mama Crow?
Oof, that's a whole tale right there. So Lucky was born in Italy. His mother developed a terminal illness, and his father was a boxer, which is also kind of the association that he kind of liked Ellis for, was the hand-to-hand combat. But she developed a terminal illness that caused her to like kind of lose her mind, and they found that no matter who, like any doctor that they went to, they still had no results. Like nothing could cure, nothing was going to help her. But they heard that perhaps the Native Americans have, like the shamans have been coming up with something that could possibly cure this ailment. So that's how he ends up in America, and this is from a really young age. And then while they're on their way to a shaman, they actually get ransacked by, we never fleshed this out, but it was just going to be a group of, monsters or something, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a group of monsters more or less just ransack and kill every single person in this party except for Lucky, who was told to hide from his father. And then from that point on, we introduce the character of Spaghetti,
Yeah.
which was a whole character, which we were going to do.
Forever
we were
about
talking
Spaghetti.
forever, so we were going to do a whole backstory episode and like multiple episodes, and we never got to flesh this out, but it was kind of just like it never worked with timing. I never really pushed for it too hard.
Yeah, I don't think you really wanted to do it. I don't know.
I was realizing because I wasn't confident in playing a young Lucky to the point that it was going to make sense or feel authentic. But Spaghetti kind of comes in, and he has the personality of the Lucky that we know today. He's very flamboyant. He was very boisterous, even though he was not very skilled in like anything. And this is kind of who Lucky adopts as a father figure, or at least more or less his personality from. Yeah, but Spaghetti is kind of a piece of shit. So he kind of sells Lucky off into, or at least gives him up when he's kind of pushed against the wall as the father who, this is who we're actually, the father that we meet in season 3, is kind of pushes him into a corner saying like, hey, you owe me money, etc., that kind of storyline. In which kind of Spaghetti just kind of sells him off at the last moment.
To a real horrible guy.
To a real horrible guy.
And this
Obviously,
is when he was still alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a real horrible guy. And in like kind of a last show of like compassion, he realizes the error of his deed after pretty much months of living with the priest. Spaghetti comes back and kind of guns down everyone, or at least attempts to, but dies in the process of it. The priest gets away, obviously, because we meet him later.
Oh, he died, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He got
You
shot.
shot him.
Yes. So I end up shooting him. Right. I forgot about that. So I end up shooting him, and it's with I think this is also the start of why I carry a 5-shooter instead of a 6-shooter too. Because I fire all 6 shots, and then the 6th shot always rings into Lucky's head. So he never focuses on that again. And then he kind of just wanders into the desert after this. And then that's when Ma kind of just stumbles upon him. And then Ma kind of like says like, what are you doing, boy? And he doesn't answer because he's pretty traumatized. And then she says something along the lines of like, well, you know what? You're pretty lucky that I found you. And that's how Lucky gets his name of Lucky.
I don't remember the character's name, but in Little House on the Prairie, they introduced a character like halfway through, which was this boy that got adopted into this family of people, right? And it's sort of like a thing where they're like, well, I mean, you don't have anywhere to stay, so like just come stay with us, like. And then you show up and you're like, okay, well I can do work, and then you start doing chores, and they're like, well, I mean, you're doing chores, you're doing work, I mean, and then it just sort of eventually translates into being family, you know?
Yeah, and that's kind of how I pictured it too. Lucky also comes into a great sum of money too, which, I mean, at this point, I'm sure Hiram was pretty ecstatic about. If he was even around. No, he wasn't even around at this point.
No, he was dead by then.
Yeah,
Right.
well, in the original kind of rundown of it.
Probably paying off debts that he left for Meadow, I assume.
Yeah, so Lucky kind of came with a huge sum of money because, again, his father was a very famous boxer.
And then he paid for your gold teeth that way.
Paid for my gold teeth that way. Which is also a whole nother story, but we won't get into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will you kind of go into a little bit more explanation for Southpaw, the tattoo?
Yeah, Southpaw was just a reminder to Lucky about what his father was, which was he was a boxer he was renowned for having a strong southpaw. So that was kind of Lucky's way of always being like, I have a connection to my real father who was a boxer, and so he wrote Southpaw on his hand.
And that's a boxing term for like a strong left hook.
Yeah, it's a left. Yeah,
It's a boxing term for somebody who fights left-handed.
yes. Not to mention, I am left-handed myself, so I always make it a point to make my characters left-handed. left-handed, just because, I don't know, as a kid, that was always important to me to have left-handed idols.
And there's not a lot. Like, nobody writes
There wasn't. In
left-handed
fact,
people.
the one I used to cling to the most was Link from Legend of Zelda, was actually originally left-handed. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, because I'm like, oh, he's left-handed.
That's super cool.
And then when we came out, they realized, well, he can't be left-handed, because if we're going to do a sword mechanism, I think it was like the Skyward Sword. So they had to make him right-handed because most of the world was right-handed. So from that point on,
Well, he kind of
always
switches
became
back and
right-handed.
forth now, doesn't he?
Like
I feel
I'm
like
pretty
in a
sure
lot of-
from this point on, he's been right-handed.
I feel like he's left-handed in a lot of the new. He's left-handed in Smash Bros and shit.
If they pick from the older ones, I'm sure he is. But I think Smash Bros actually does it depends on which way you're
Weird.
facing. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Sounds like Rose.
That's the
sounds like
south.
Link.
That's the south.
Nice, nice. Well, leading back to tough storylines with Lucky, were there any storylines that were just outright rejected? Like anything you guys proposed that you just didn't think would fit?
Yeah, there is one that we rejected right at the table. So early on when we were in the forest, and we were done in Silver Tree and the boys had gotten together and reunited and, that's where they had the funeral and we met Cole and Marston and the others. And after they did the pallbearer bit where they carried everybody up and then we went back to town and we decided where to go. We saw the fire coming from the house or coming from the ranch. And so we all ran out to the ranch and, it was on fire and somebody had exploded it. We did all the research to try and find who that was. And then we were hunting down that person. After we hunted them down for a while, I think we figured out that was Amos.
Yeah.
So there was the whole track of, we followed Amos through the woods and the forest and we tracked him to this cabin and we got to the cabin and we were eating beans in the cabin. I think I remember that. Like we specifically
that sounds
searched the
about right.
cabin for beans, right?
Yeah, now I'm on board.
Yep.
Yeah,
Kansas
this is also like black moths and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
No, that was later on.
I
But
think that was
it's right
that was
before
later,
that.
But
yeah.
so we were talking to Amos, and this was the first time that we were really talking
right.
about the hanging judges. And Abel's line, there weren't 5 judges, there were 6 or whatever. We paused play at that moment because Caleb wasn't sure whether I was trying to imply that Abel was one of the hanging judges. And we talked about that very briefly, about whether he should have been one of them. And then we rejected it.
Oh, man, it could have been interesting if we had talked about it beforehand.
It
but,
would
like,
have, yeah.
And if he hadn't died, like he got away from that somehow. Yeah, that'd actually be a cool rewrite. Like he worked for Crane at some point. Mm-hmm. But he'd have to be older too, so.
Yeah, that was one that we rejected.
Could be.
We were like, ooh, that sounds interesting. Nope. It's just not as cool as Cannibal.
Okay. Well, it's totally crazy, Caleb. But Isaac did get old. Abel got
He
older.
did get old.
At the end of season 2, right? So
Yeah.
that could just be, rather than being aged, it's having the charm lifted that hid how old he was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
you're
We
right.
gotta
Almost
get
like
to,
a reverse
veto.
stuff.
We got to start over.
Yeah.
Season 1.
Yeah, the reverse.
A reverse
Yeah,
death
now
knell.
everyone knows you're old.
Instead of
Aha.
deleting history,
We'll
it
put
just
it in the
creates
TV
it.
rewrites.
I think everybody had backstory stuff that they wanted to bring up, but it just didn't fit into the story, or
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
it just didn't really have time for it or whatever.
What did you have? I guess the jackalope thing kind of got left behind.
Yeah, that was I don't know. That was kind of whatever. That was exhausted, I feel like. But
Yeah, I stabbed it.
all
dead
the stuff
before.
with the working on the railroad, and I had a lot of stuff planned for that.
Oh
never
yeah,
really
you had
got-
a kung fu master you wanted to bring in.
yeah, it was a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
Okay,
It
I
was
was
like a
always
whole-
wondering. I was like, I still don't know why. I know that you learned it from the railroads,
Yeah.
but I had no idea what the hell
It was
that
a whole
even
process.
meant,
It took
honestly.
years. You had to earn their respect. It was a really taboo thing to teach a Westerner martial arts. So he had to learn Chinese and kind of win their respect and their trust and their friendship. And then Ellis was kind of like the bad guy in a kung fu movie where he's just really likes martial arts because he likes the power of it. He likes to fight. And he can
Sure.
never really discipline himself and find that inner peace and the chi side of it.
We would have done that if you hadn't died, huh? That would have been.
I don't know.
Well, then he
Well,
died.
that was
and
part
got
of it, though. I
fucking-
thought of it
wouldn't
after I
yeah,
died.
definitely. I feel
Because
like-
I was like, it'd be really cool if my rival, kept on practicing. And the whole thing with the brands was the ones on Ellis's arms were the first ones, and you're supposed to get a bunch, all over your body.
Oh.
Because they were part of this, almost like a cult that believed that fire was purifying. And they knew about all the weird West stuff, all the monsters. And it was their mission, the higher rank, it was their mission to go fight them. It wouldn't be revealed to you until you were a higher rank. They would reveal that stuff when you were ready. And so his rival would work his way through the ranks and become this martial arts master who was devoted to hunting down these monsters. and Harrowed.
And there you were,
And
the
then
monster.
there's Ellis, who is Harrowed. And there would be like a whole thing where Ellis is this bad guy.
Yeah.
He's this Harrowed. He's the failed martial arts student who just gave up after, he was frustrated, so he gave up. And there was this guy who was like the star pupil, did everything right, and there was gonna be the conflict there.
So you always wanted Ellis to be kind of a bad guy.
Well, that was after he became Harrowed. I don't know. I really lean into the whole like power corruption kind of story. Was he always like that, or did he become that way because the newly gained power?
Sure.
I always like that kind of story, like the Breaking Bad scenario.
If we had more time, huh?
Yeah, it just
cool.
wouldn't have fit into the story.
Yeah.
I thought about doing a soliloquy, but I was too lazy. And
I
Maybe
think
I
I
still will.
remember you bringing this up at one point, and in my head I was like, oh my God, dude, we're in California.
Yeah.
I've got the Reverend, right? We've got Mondragon, we got Tabitha coming up. Like, I was like, maybe I can work into the prison somehow. And I think I was like, well, these people can't be in fucking California. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It was too convenient,
it was too late.
Thaddeus, what do you got?
Honestly,
You hit all your points. You said, nope, that was perfect.
I mean, the only point I really would have wanted to see him get was some sort of like camaraderie with his brothers, but I mean the whole show was like not for that.
Yeah.
It could have been
So-
at one point.
Trying,
Yeah,
man.
at
We
one
got
point.
so close in the
You
shaving
guys got
baths.
We
very
did?
close. You guys
Yeah.
got
There
very
was a
close.
chance
When you guys were
on a
bathing
train.
together, I thought that was the moment.
We had a
Yeah.
bathtub scene. It was real nice.
Yeah. You
Where
guys
was the
had a
tipping
bathtub
point, I
scene.
wonder, where we just decided that we were just going to ride it to the ground?
Dude, right at the
season 3
beginning.
when we got thrown in prison. I think is
No
what
way,
what-
dude. It was
Yeah.
way earlier than that. There was the whole scene where we show up to that town where they're burning the huckster, and I'm like, let's save him. And everybody was like, no, dude, we're not good guys. What the fuck are you talking about? And then we had already decided that shit was not going good for us, like way early on. That was like the third session.
Sure. Maybe you
Yeah.
could have been friends, though, right? Like, you could have been bad guy friends.
Yeah, I think we could have been bad guy friends. I don't know. What was it that I'm trying to think between you and me, because I still feel like fairly friendly with everybody except Harper, maybe, and Thaddeus.
Well, Harper
You
didn't
mu-
have
yeah,
any
you were
friends at
friend-
the end.
Oh
It
yeah.
didn't go both ways, but you were friendly with most of the group. But I think most of the group hated you by the
It
end.
did not go both ways. Thaddeus, what was our breaking point though?
I don't know. For whatever reason, we had like a really bad little spat in City of Lost Angels, and then we never talked about it. And then
Yeah, pretty much.
it was revealed that everything that Thaddeus thought he knew for the last half of his life was a lie. And then
Yeah, that part for sure. But I remember also that spat in City of Lost Angels, feeling a little
think
bit
that was
like,
it.
where is this coming from, bro? And then like, fine, fuck it. You want to fight? Let's fight.
Was that during the chase scene?
That's
Or
when
like
you got
right
shot.
afterwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like right
Oh,
after
yeah.
the chase.
You fucking shot me, right?
No,
No.
I punched you and I knocked you over.
Yeah,
something
you
like
did
that.
punch him. I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
Hey, we were on a fact-finding mission. We're trying to get information. We didn't have to kill the guy, I think is what it was. And then
God.
You almost killed Lucky. Lucky was down to like -3.
Yeah, we could go totally take care of that.
Oh my god.
He's okay, right? But if we had gotten some more information
being hurt was kind of Lucky's thing.
Yeah.
that was my thing, man.
for season 3 and 4, you're right. Yeah.
But you got all your storylines.
Otherwise, yeah, storyline, everything worked out. It was really just, man, I wish I didn't roll bad then. Oh boy, howdy, I wish I didn't fail that roll. Man, Snake Eyes with that card. Now we've got Mondragon after us, man. That sure
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
it was all like mechanic stuff I wish didn't happen.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I regret shooting Mondragon. That was a thing.
yeah,
I
you
wish.
should.
I regret you shooting
Shame on
Mondragon,
you.
yeah.
Shame on you.
We should have had him with us. That'd have been great. The 6 of us showing up. Instead of 6 hanging judges we got the 6 of us. That'd have been a sweet posse.
Dude, Mondragon to the end of the show. Oh, I would have loved that.
Yeah, what was his original plan?
What do you mean?
Like, was he gonna be friends? Were we friends?
Yeah, he was going to be pretty friendly. He wasn't planning on killing you or anything. I think my thought was to give you an ally that you could use against that Bright Gang, and then give you an ally you can use against Tabitha once you got there.
Psych.
And we said,
Didn't do
fuck
Yeah,
that.
didn't do
Hell,
that one
We
bit.
want
No.
old boot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We want more enemies, actually.
I mean, I probably could have done a better job with him. And I think, too, like, I know you regretted shooting Mondragon, but I think the way that I set up that boat scene, I don't know if everybody else remembers this, but everyone here was like, oh, yeah, we for sure thought, like, that fight was unwinnable. We for
Oh,
sure
yeah, we
thought you
thought-
were
yeah.
telegraphing,
Yeah.
like, hey, we're fucked here. So I think that's part of it too. You know, it's not all on you. Could have telegraphed better that you're not supposed to shoot this guy.
Well, we were completely surrounded, I think, right?
We were surrounded.
From,
You
like-
got wounded. You had 3 wounds. Abel had 2.
Well,
I think
I got hit
Thaddeus
by a
had one.
cannonball.
I had just failed the roll that got us into the situation in the first place.
You had failed that roll, and we fucked up the healing device got
Yeah.
destroyed,
That's
Which did even more
right.
damage.
which did even more damage.
Yep.
And I was still at -2 on
Yeah.
all my shooting shit because I didn't
my
have my
God.
rifle back, so I only had a pistol that I was like -3 on.
Oh my
So like the
God.
only person who could fight was Ellis.
Yeah, and I was
Damn.
melee in a ship battle.
Yeah,
So
I could have tried to blow up the town with Ellis. That would have been crazy and not the type of noise we were trying to make. Had we known that the sandstorm coming in was just going to erase the whole thing anyway, maybe we could have just done that. A little shock and awe with Ellis and Thaddeus. That could have been cool. I had blast. I could have just. Yeah, dude.
That's a nice word for murder.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
That's a nice word for Ellis and Thaddeus, though. Like, for real, shock and awe.
There's only one thing I would have changed, and it was actually a bunch of good rolls. But Harper was supposed to get his ass beat in inclination.
We talked about that. So
It would have
Yeah.
changed his entire arc because he was supposed to be. I really wanted that
Helpless.
scene to make him feel more helpless and sad as opposed to angry. But like when you
Well,
get into
explain
that
the scene.
situation,
Explain the scene.
the scene was when those 3 fuckos caught
Yep.
him in inclination by himself and started like surrounding him. And I just rolled super good and managed to get the better of him.
Yep.
But
yep.
my whole idea for that scene was he was going to get bodied. They were going to beat the shit out of him, leave him in the dirt, and then like walk off.
it was supposed to be 3v1 versus a one-armed man with one eye.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harper was like, "I'm gonna kick everyone's ass."
Yeah.
That happened with Allie too in the scene where she like confronts her mother and shoots her thumb off. None of it was supposed to go that way.
Crows are just badass even when they're not supposed to be.
I really like the experimentation of making.
Marshall Flew.
except for Thaddeus.
I made him not badass, and then he had some moments.
lived it up.
It's really annoying, but I do like prepping scenes really heavily sometimes. They like
And watching them
specific
go
scenes.
awry.
Yeah, and just following them wherever they go.
Right.
But it's pretty fun.
That's
I
the
think
beauty
that
of
was
it, right?
that was like
Beauty
one
of
of what,
tabletops.
like 2 scenes that you and I like that I was like, hey, I want this scene.
Yeah, we prepped Ellis coming back pretty heavily too.
Yes, that's true.
I remember
Yeah,
you even
that
talking
was
to me
very
about how we
prepped.
were gonna like get in, and I was gonna be one of the dudes to kick your ass and everything.
Yeah.
You're
Well, we
right.
did that
We-
at
we
the
thought about
table. I had talked to Caleb about it beforehand.
We prepped a lot of the Orson stuff, I think. Not
Oh,
the
yeah.
werewolf fight itself, but
Yeah.
Just like the overall arc.
yeah, and the flashback scenes, Avi.
That
were
Orson
very
shit
much
was
like,
dark.
what do you think Orson's doing?
I think he's got like a deadliest game situation somewhere
For sure.
in the desert or
Just
something
thriving,
where he's hunting
yeah.
people.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Cool.
Definitely.
Still has our fucking packs, dude.
No, we
Still got
found
the
them.
backs.
We found the bags.
Not in my head canon.
Sorry, dude. Doesn't count anymore.
Fucking
Not
time.
Marshall's
Orson
head
Doesn't
canon.
count anymore, Cam.
Speaking of prep, Isaac, was Abel always a huckster? Following that, how do you feel about his hypocrisy? And did Abel make any deals before the Tabitha scene?
Yes, Huckster from the beginning. I think the plan was always that Abel is not what he says he is, and that he lives a life by a different moral code than the one he practices, or by a moral code that he thinks is super flexible. With that said, Abel is not a hypocrite in any way, I don't think. I don't think that as a player. I don't think it as a player, and I don't think he sees it for himself either.
I think I hear all of our listeners groaning.
Yeah, for
of course,
sure.
everybody's
For
groaning.
sure.
Yeah, somebody get a dictionary, huh?
But there's no, so he of course made deals. I think that was one of the points of the flashback scene, that he did deals in the past and then decided to reject that and go on a path of righteousness to atone for it. So none of that's hypocritical, right? That's just him redeeming himself from the sins of his past. During the course of the show, the first deal he made was the one while we were fighting Tabitha's people. There was nothing along the way, and he hadn't done it for years and years since he swore it
That's
off.
why all those Manitow were all starving in that scene in the cave.
Exactly. But when he got to that moment, I think that's where he decided that if this is going to be the path, then we may as well go down the path completely. And so he gave himself into that and accepted that he had foregone his redemption, essentially. He felt like he had been redeemed up until that point and was like, well, okay, I guess I can't keep my redeemed status, so I'm going to give it up and I'm going to do this instead.
Abel's a dude that says, well, since I shoplifted a Red Bull, I guess murdering people's okay.
100%, because it's
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
A sin is a
Right.
sin is a sin. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
So as soon as you cross the line, why arbitrarily draw another line? That would be hypocritical.
Yeah.
He's such an extremist. He's such an extremist.
Why not beat your kids? Whatever.
You know what? Talking about kids, do you guys know what happened with Eliza, Hannibal, and Reno after they left?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's the correct answer.
Nice, love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope Eliza found some peace.
I like to dream.
You know,
What do you like to dream about?
Tell us more.
Well, I mean, I got like, what I want to happen and then what I think probably happened. I think it would be cool if like Eliza just never gave up and she kind of conceded and maybe she started to see more stuff in the world, more of this, all these monsters and manitows. And maybe she started to think, because she thinks a lot like Ellis. I think they're a lot alike. I think she just didn't have the full picture. So maybe it'd be cool if she found a way to turn herself Harrowed. And then rejoin.
Oh, man.
just killed the guy.
Crazy
Zombie wife.
storylines.
Zombie wife.
The crazy
Rejoin
storylines.
Ellis.
Uh-huh.
And they just try and, do what they were doing before, work as a team. But instead of going after bandits, they go after
What do you think happened?
boogeyman's.
Probably that,
I think
honestly.
she probably, I don't know. Maybe she
goes
just
off.
moved on.
She marries Harper.
Right, like I assume.
Oh, shit.
I assume she just moves on, right? Like you literally chose another relationship over her,
Right.
and it like
She was already extremely independent. She was
Yeah,
like a very
exactly.
strong person.
That's
She's lost
true.
people before. I
Right.
think that she would just recoup her losses and, keep doing her thing.
And then Reno Hannibal maybe got a job there, maybe didn't.
Most likely they just went back to crime.
Yeah.
I
Probably
mean,
most
very
likely,
likely
yeah.
they probably are
I hope
rotten into
I
jail
hope
somewhere.
Thaddeus and Reno started hanging out.
I hope
maybe started hanging out.
Yeah. Well,
could
yeah,
see
but maybe
that.
I was able to get Reno to come along with us, dude. Did Lucky
maybe.
hate Reno all that much?
Well, if you're doing
Nah.
that, Hannibal's
Nah,
coming
Lucky didn't
along.
hate him.
You think Hannibal and Reno are going to split up? Absolutely not.
Well, Hannibal
Yeah.
can tag along if he wants, but like,
What,
he
you
seemed,
don't want Hannibal?
he seemed the less talented of the two. That's all.
For sure. But
Do you think Colton gunned them down?
That's what I think happened. I think Colton definitely found them and
yeah, he
fucking
probably
shot
did.
the shit out of them.
why? Just because they're
Because
related?
he's looking for crows.
Oh, dang. He's
And
cold-blooded.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I
In my
figured.
head canon, I
He
thought
got
Lucky
those
was
scars
the
from
first.
He
somewhere.
killed his fucking mom, dude.
I thought Lucky was the first.
Oh.
In my head canon. That's how I
that's
pictured it.
I like that one a little
interesting.
bit more.
Yeah, I thought Lucky was the
final.
first of his.
No way, dude.
makes it a
There's
lot
no
harder to explain
fucking
why
way
Thaddeus isn't
in
with you, though.
hell that he managed to kill any of the crows. There's no
Thaddeus is a
fucking
piece
way.
of shit.
Well, I think that Lucky might have let him, right?
Lucky
he
would
wasn't
let
trying.
him, but there's no way that he killed. You
Yeah,
think
Lucky
he
didn't shoot
he
back.
picked a
No
fight
way.
with Ellis and won? Are you fucking out of your mind?
Well, see,
Ellis literally fought God and won. Like,
here's the problem with that,
Not
right? Is
literally.
that
Literally.
we're playing an RPG where I get to make up the stats of the antagonist. So it's like, sure,
Colton rolls D12
the,
plus
the
19.
Colton we saw couldn't, but he had 6 months to 6 years to track them down. How you guys went from novice to legendary in like 6 months.
It's
you
true.
know, if he does
Very
the same
true.
thing and he snipes you from an incredible distance,
And
you
he
know,
has the
like,
full
Danger
wouldn't
sense.
do
resources.
that.
Harper has danger
Think-
sense.
think
He
he would
literally
snipe?
can't do that.
you know that Django Unchained moment. You know, they just sneak up while somebody's farming and they just fucking shoot him in the head. You know.
Got him.
So
Yeah, but
I'm
I
not
imagine
saying
it would
that's
be
what
like,
happened,
hey,
but-
dude, I have to admit I have to let you know you committed
know
a
what I
sin.
mean? It's
yeah,
kind of a.
I hear you, but my head
Yeah.
canon is there's no way that little bitch killed a crow.
I am very
That's-
happy that we all have different head canon for this because
for sure.
also
Let us go.
listeners, we're not fucking giving you canon.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that's
I
not
think
a
that's
thing.
Suck
an
on that.
interesting.
Whoever asked that question.
I agree with Cameron. There's no way he's killing Thaddeus. He's not killing Abel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't find Thaddeus, let
I would
alone
agree.
kill him.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
Well, I think
Thaddeus
Abel
is a mystery.
He could
Abel
kill
would
Abel.
let him kill him, right?
No way. No
Lucky
fucking
would
way.
let him.
Abel would blow
Lucky
himself up
would.
with
Caleb and I-
dynamite
Sure.
before he let somebody else kill him.
Lucky for sure was waiting for an excuse for someone to kill him.
Caleb and I talked about this that as an unexplored storyline. If any of the boys had drawn on Abel in the final, like any of the episodes, I would not have fought back at all.
Actually, yeah, that was actually
Dang.
you and me had talked about this for a little bit, but I was originally going to kill or
Yeah.
That would have been
That's
pretty
a whole
good,
different
actually.
We
thing.
talked about PvP,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
that's a thing Abel would not have defended himself from. And honestly, I'm with you. I don't think he would. I don't think he'd fight back on Colton either.
Yeah, it seemed at that point he was pretty much ready to die.
Yeah. All right. Well, so it sounds like Thaddeus and Luck and Ellis are the ones that would be like, nah, we're not doing that.
Oh, this would be a hard one because he doesn't have to sleep, doesn't have to poop, so he's not
He'd
vulnerable.
be a hard one.
You know?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
piggybacking on Isaac's, fuck you listeners, we're not giving you canon. Regardless of the capacity, will we ever learn more about our Crow boys?
Maybe, I don't know. It's set up in a way that we could do shit. Like,
Yeah, we got 6 years.
I always figured again, I guess we're going to go crazy head canon again, is that Lucky more or less forces Thaddeus to like, okay, hey, we're going to try and find another potion to cure Ellis.
Yeah.
Because you fucked up and broke the only one that
Ooh,
existed,
snap.
as
I
far as
think
we know.
Thaddeus was already on board to help you free the girls. Like stuff got fucked up at the airship and the fortress and all that stuff. But like he was down to help you then in whatever way you could. And then he didn't trust Chayton, but the potion was a good idea. So
Yeah.
he'd absolutely come trying to help. you
And I
find
guess
him.
this is kind of already a little bit sprinkled into canon because at the end of the final episode, it is mentioned that Lucky has been with Thaddeus inside this room before. And that was kind of where they were kind of holding out while they were searching for the potion. If we ever do a whole thing on that is completely, who knows?
Right. yeah, if we
I'm not
find out, see what
interested in
happens.
picking Harper back up. I mean, I retired him. It was hard for me. You know, like it took me like, well, I was calling you, Caleb, like 2 weeks later, still saying that I was like,
I didn't
dealing with
empathize
shit.
at all because I was still editing and shit.
yeah, I was,
It's like, I don't give a shit.
yeah.
He put you on speaker and just said,
it sucked.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember you being very upset, and I couldn't like support you. You know, I was just like, "Damn, dude, that sucks."
yeah. Well, I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah,
But yeah, it was hard for me to put Harper down, and I don't want to relive that shit. So, as far as I'm concerned, Harper is. Yeah, I laid him to rest, and that's where he's gonna stay.
Plus one. Yeah, same vibe.
Well, piggybacking on that, what happened to the other brothers? Were the epilogues of each character decided by the players, or maybe a collaboration with Caleb?
Well, shit, you just heard like 4.5 of them.
Yeah.
Right. We came up with a few.
yeah, that's it. We talked about it a little bit at the end session, maybe a little bit after that.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Harper ran away to Canada, got married, had a kid, offed himself.
I think everything else has already been said, right? We don't know what happened to Abel, but I don't think Isaac has given any thought to what happened to Abel. So
I have not,
No.
and I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't know if did I
Yeah.
ever say it on mic?
Yeah, say it.
Either way was genuine.
I think he was.
And they can work together and everything's cool until Ellis dies somehow at
Yeah.
the hands of some beast.
Yeah.
Or just based off of game mechanics, every time I use Let the Devil Out, I lose a little bit of dominion.
Sure.
So eventually, if Way wasn't genuine,
yeah.
then he can just play the long game and Ellis is just going to completely lose control and he's going to become this, feral animal. He's going to become the jackalope.
I guess if Wei had total control and didn't have to give it back, I don't know why he would, like he's very much down to be a partner, but it's like, come on, if all you want to do is eat people and you can eat people all the time and nobody can stop you, why wouldn't you do that,
Yeah, our partnership is I get to be here and you feed me people and I make you hella strong and let you live in your
Yeah.
body again.
Yeah,
But now
yeah.
I can live in your body without you letting me do it.
Yeah.
And I can eat people all the time.
So
Like
then
he'd still talk to you.
at that point, maybe
Keep you
the,
company.
It would more or less just switch places,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The
like,
dynamic would switch and Ellis would try and take
Let the
control every
Ellis
once
out.
in a while.
Yeah, that'd be
Let the
cool.
Ellis out, yeah.
let the Ellis out.
Which is-
and you like
which
go
is
and eat a
arguably
steak or
worse.
something.
Yeah.
You fucking eat a steak and you're like, ooh, okay. Put that shit in your pocket.
steak.
He drinks some water.
Yeah.
He's like, oh god,
You
I've been
drink
so
some
fucking
water,
thirsty.
You cook it and put seasoning on the steak.
Yeah.
Then place it right in your
Way's just
pocket.
screaming.
And then I think Old Boot eventually buys Google, starts
Yep,
Pixar.
That was
Yeah.
also hinted in the lore. I thought.
Ellis definitely hooked him up
Yeah.
with some of that Harrod shit, so I believe that.
What about
Well, he's immortal.
Yeah.
Oh, he was
drunk
already
from the fountain
immortal?
of youth. Yeah.
Yeah, we went into one of those.
what about Daryl?
one of our warm ups? Yeah. What happened to Daryl?
We killed Daryl.
Yeah,
We
you
absolutely
a
killed
bunch.
Daryl like 8 times.
Yeah, you just killed Daryl.
Keeps coming back.
We
though.
keep finding ways to bring him back. So we
Daryl's
can
an
kill him.
interesting
Okay.
character, though.
Now that
'cause-
you've had 6 months to think about it, was it too much giving him a cameo in the finale?
No,
What do you
it
think?
was
No,
the
dude, people
perfect
loved
little
it.
bite of levity in the middle of that
It
bullshit.
was
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, we need something. Just, like when you watch a movie and you're also like, oh shit, hey, what are you doing here, dude? Hey, nice. And then you go on about your day and, oh shit, it's scary again.
I think there should have been more.
It's okay.
I think there should have been a whole background episode out of the blue.
Yeah. You know how
Could've
Just
made
Daryl.
it,
Little flashback
do a whole
backstory, final
flashback
fight.
3-episode arc of sympathizing Daryl to the audience.
We get Robert Downey Jr. to guest star.
exactly.
Nuts. People would love it.
It's like that.
He loves good RGJ.
It's like that. There's this movie called Iron Man, and Samuel Jackson
Yeah.
has a
Never heard of
cameo
it.
in it.
Yeah.
And then later, they published another movie called The Avengers.
Who did this?
I forget who
It's a
published
comic
it.
book studio, right?
Well, no, it's not a comic book. It's a movie. But Samuel Jackson was also in that movie, and that's a nod to some people that the two universes are connected,
Where are you going with this?
or just they're connected.
He just wanted to pop that
They're
in.
connected.
Nice and close.
It was just on his mind.
Daryl connects our universes. So
I see where. Okay,
Daryl's
all
the
right,
next
all
speed
right, all
guy.
right.
Sorry to derail us.
Did we have a backup if the brothers failed to kill Thomas Crane?
yes,
What?
Did we? We would just have ended
I
with them
just all
being dead
died.
on the ground.
Yeah.
But that is
yes.
a plan, right?
Bow, 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 wow, wow.
Oh, that would
They
have
all
been
died.
cool, though.
Ain't no sunshine.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all very, very okay with just dying.
Like we win
Yeah.
or we're dead.
I think also there hit a point, I forget which point it was, but there was a point where it was just, if one of us dies, we're not coming back.
Yeah, I think it was
There's
at the end of
no-
season 3. We
Yeah.
were like, okay, guys, if somebody dies,
Yeah,
we're not
like
doing another
we-
Orson. We're too
Yeah,
deep.
there's no
Don't have another
Orson. It
character to
was
add
just,
in.
well,
Yeah.
cool. Tell me how the game plays out, which thank God it didn't happen that way, because that would have
true.
sucked.
It would have been so bad.
Jokes,
But yeah,
True.
I
jokes
think
on
that
them.
was the original
I
plan.
did
Was
take Damned as my final edge for Abel. So
Did you really?
True.
Yeah, I went the other way. I just kept going like, don't die, don't die, don't die. Harder to kill.
Yeah.
Tough as nails.
but
Yeah,
if everybody had died,
yeah.
I think we all would have been psyched.
I don't know if psych's the right word, but yeah,
Would have
Well,
been a good story,
we would have
right?
been content.
Sort of ended with episode 29, I think, and then just sort of wrapped up.
Yeah, maybe
Right,
got
yeah.
into more just details about what like Thomas Crane ended up doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I would have figured it out.
Yeah, that would have been.
It would have been
that
weird.
would have been bad.
That would have been a problem to solve. It would have been a fun problem.
It would be. I personally imagine then the final couple episodes would be Caleb would have come up with a great plan with Meadow and Hiram and just done like 1 or 2 episodes of them leading up to the boys and talking about all the beautiful things they were going to do in their lives, and like that would be the end of the
No, that
show.
would have been
Yeah.
good. Yep.
Yeah.
And we could have done flashbacks with the boys and had them interacting with the parents.
Sure.
Yeah.
Caleb, what was your favorite monster to run during the course of the show?
I think the jackalope.
The jackalope?
I think the jackalope.
The jackalope?
That was just fun. I never get to put things like that in my games because
So it was all downhill, huh?
well, it doesn't serve anything, right? Like it doesn't serve anything.
Yeah, I
But
stabbed the shit out of it in like 10 seconds.
it established that like, oh, this is like a weird setting very early on.
Yes,
And
it definitely did.
It was a fun little monster of like it comes out and steals your whiskey and then it screws with their bennies and stuff. Like you get less and less bennies the more the jackalope is around. Do I have to give a different answer? Is that not?
No,
that's okay.
that's your
That's
favorite
your favorite.
monster.
Yeah,
That's
so.
your favorite monster. Who cares?
That's
what?
really
I
cool.
liked it too because I got a free Benny out of it.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
Worked out well,
Yeah, I
For
actually
like
had
2 minutes.
zero. Not in my wildest dreams did I think there was an actual item called a jackalope
foot.
foot. Yeah,
I mean, and
Which I guess
played
should
it
have made
was
sense. But
fucking blown away. I said that as Thaddeus as a joke. I didn't realize that was a thing. And then
Right,
you just
yeah.
put it in there. And it was hilarious.
That was great. I wish Mondragon's fight was. I guess the problem I have is every real fight was like, oh man, I wish I had done that better. Not like I don't have a very strong like Mondragon's build was so fucking cool, and I just bungled it. You know,
He beat the absolute shit out of us on the airship.
Yeah.
he did okay.
He shot the fuck out of us.
He did okay.
Yeah, you
did
did
all right.
show him
Downed
do the
Abel.
thing.
I wasn't too worried about him.
And then everybody else, I don't know.
We know the brothers are murder hobos, but did any of the brothers seriously want to commit fratricide at any point?
Harper was very close to killing 3 of his brothers in the last 3 episodes.
Trying to kill.
If you say lucky, I'm gonna lose my mind.
No,
dude.
he wouldn't have killed
No, it was the
Lucky.
other 3.
All right,
Come
on. All right.
The only reason that I didn't try to headshot Ellis when he was attacking his wife was because I was 1 turn after him and he stopped combat at that point. If I had gone before him, I would have shot him. Which he probably would have killed me, but if anybody was going to kill Ellis, it was going to be me. I have all those bonuses to headshots and shit. Like, I almost killed Thaddeus because he almost made the deal to erase Grace from existence.
Well,
which
but
I
you
would have
wouldn't
known.
Well,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
you
have.
wouldn't
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
that was the whole deal.
That's right. Harper
That was the
would
whole
know.
thing.
Right.
That was going to be the twist,
That was
right?
the
Like
whole
fucking.
thing.
Oh, that would have been so sick, right? Because every other time it's like everyone forgets, but this time
Harper
You
would have
would've
remembered.
done
He
it,
would have
and
killed
they were
Thaddeus,
like,
and then
"Oh,
nobody else
shit."
would know why.
You ain't
so
never
they
met
would
a
have
deal
killed
like
him.
this when the true power of friendships involved suckerfish. He's gonna remember.
We talked about it many times with many people. I know for sure I've had one-on-one conversation. I don't remember with who because it's happened so often.
I don't think I ever wanted to. Thaddeus ever wanted to kill Lucky. I don't think
yeah.
he ever wanted to kill.
Just,
I don't think he ever wanted to kill
just
Alice
Lucky.
either.
Everyone
Just
else
Lucky.
you had?
No, I think he only ever wanted to kill Abel like the one time.
Sure.
Other than that, it was just like, fuck you, little brothers are annoying as shit. And that was probably about the highest level that I ever got with the three of you.
Yeah, I would have beaten a number of you senseless at any point and tried in a few cases, but I don't think that Abel would have killed anybody except Ellis in the barn. But Ellis wasn't his brother, so that doesn't count.
I don't think Ellis wanted to kill anybody. I think Ellis was like totally cool with everybody.
Wade Chugate would have killed everyone.
That's the
Yeah, that
ironic
sounds
part,
about
right?
right.
Everybody didn't trust him because Way was in his head, but in reality, like Ellis was cool with everybody. He was chill.
No way on Lucky's end, I would say for sure. The closest it would ever be would be at the very last scene with Abel, but that wasn't even going to be me killing you. That was going to be me destroying your arm so you wouldn't be able to fucking shoot anymore.
Oh yeah,
I was going to shoot you in the arm like 5 times and just fucking obliterate it.
I just remembered the other time when I almost killed Abel was when he shot Lori. That was like, I was chewing on it then. I was like, do I do it? Do I fucking pull the trigger? And then I was like, we came this fucking far.
I was waiting for you to because I was like, man, somebody should probably kill Abel.
Yeah.
Harper's
Yeah,
got to
but
kill
why?
Abel.
We didn't even know who Lori was really. She was just another person we ran
Well,
into
I
ahead of
didn't
time.
pull the
Just
trigger
told us.
because of that reason, but it definitely crossed my mind at that point, as it was like, even if we didn't know Lori at all, like, this girl started running her mouth and Abel killed her in cold blood. Like, that was a murder. That was just a fucking straight up murder. And I mean, we've killed a lot of people and we've killed some people who didn't deserve it, but we've never like walked up to an innocent person who was like minding their own business, maybe running their mouth and fucking murdered them.
Yeah, at best, it was she ran her mouth too many times, but like,
Right.
that's not enough justification.
Yeah, that's not. You're right. That's
I
correct.
never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean?
At that point, the only reason I didn't do it is just because I knew that if I did that, there was no going back. Like, once I did that, fucking, I'm going to get bodied by 3 of the other brothers. So, like,
I don't even know if they would kill you then.
Well, and
That's the
Isaac
craziest
flew
part.
out for the last few
Isaac
episodes.
did fly
That
out.
too.
That was like day 2 or 3 or
think
something.
we had discussed about that too. Like,
Oh, yeah, he would have been fine. I
yeah,
suppose.
we would have been, we had talked about it. Like, if one of us dies, like, this is it.
Yeah, I think we were even okay with like, hey, if one of us kills each other.
Yeah, I think
We're
that's a
okay with
conversation
this.
we had, like, that first night. It's like, hey, if anybody wants to kill each other, we're doing that.
Yeah, glad it didn't get to that point, but yeah.
Would have been good though.
So more or less, you're the only one that wanted to kill everyone.
Harper was
Yeah.
bloodthirsty.
So I guess what we learned is Cameron's a murderer.
Yeah,
Wow,
so you
awkward.
started out as the good guy.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, you were really ready to kill
He was a
everyone.
murderer then too,
Which
though,
I
right?
guess still makes you
That's
technically
true.
the good guy, because we are not good people.
Yep.
Harper was the only one that started the campaign
Shrug?
as a murderer, right?
Shrug.
No, you definitely
I-
murdered.
Well,
Yeah,
they were
that's
bandits
true.
though.
You did it for a job.
It's frontier justice though.
And I also murdered somebody.
I don't think
That
you
doesn't
can
count
say
against frontier justice.
frontier justice as a justification.
Some of the things Isaac did were definitely murders.
no.
Oh, he killed the Martian boys.
yeah.
He killed the Martian boys. He
Yeah.
killed some other people in Mexico.
It took
like-
him all of 48 hours after introducing him there. He definitely committed a murder.
Bruh.
True.
Bruh. No. The last murder that Abel committed was in Mexico.
Well.
So arguably,
Yeah.
4 of us
Disagree.
came in as
Well,
murderers.
We'll just
At worst, you can get him for
Arguably.
manslaughter. But
I don't know if that's right either, but
Yeah, it doesn't seem right.
Didn't Harper burn down an orphanage? Like lock everybody
Yes,
in
he
there?
did,
and burn it
actually.
down?
He did.
I remember
just
that.
for fun too.
No. No. You guys are going to confuse. This is the last little bit that I'm ever going to say about Harper, and that I'm not going to leave it on that bullshit fucking note. You animals.
No, they were children he murdered, not animals.
Yeah.
There was animals in there too. There was dogs.
pets.
They had puppies.
They had puppies, yeah.
Yeah.
They were therapy animals.
Orphan puppies.
Tell us more about the characters, how they were thinking and their motivations in killing Mal and Lori.
Sure.
I mean,
There,
One-
Killing who?
there was no motivation.
Zero
Abel got
motivation.
mad. He
Yeah.
pulled the trigger, and then Mal started acting fast in a crazy situation.
And Mal
shoulda
was
just
never
put his
on our
hand in
side
his
as
this is,
far
an,
as the
this
boys
is an
knew.
Abel question.
Yeah.
What
we
was your
didn't kill
motivation
them.
for killing them?
Abel killed them.
I don't know if that's true.
We didn't really know who
You
Mal was,
definitely
right?
killed them.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was just another loose end. Plus, like he was working for Crane at one point, and he flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's obviously not trustworthy in the eyes of
Ellis.
Ellis, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Not
and then he pulled a gun.
He
Yeah.
pulled a
And
gun
he's
in a
hard-road,
tense
so he's dangerous.
situation.
Yeah. Or did he even pull a gun? Am I manufacturing that?
I
He
think
would
he
have.
just-
He would have
I
done
think
it.
he just let it happen, didn't he? I
No,
don't remember.
he went for his gun
Oh,
I
okay.
think so.
because his whole thing was protecting Lori. Abel shot her. He went for his gun, and then
I
Abel
just
shot him.
didn't want to play combat because it
Yeah,
felt so
to be
dumb to
fair.
play combat with
Yeah.
5 of you
Yeah,
against
it was
him.
almost more powerful like that too. It was
I think so. Yeah.
him dying
I mean-
like it was nothing, you know.
Didn't you rip his
Yeah.
head off too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
had to make sure, you know.
Kind of
Yeah,
a-
I
had to
guess
make
so.
sure.
On the point of it being a murder, I just enjoy it being like so quick. You know,
It
Just I
was
feel like
quick.
it makes it feel bad.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
as an audience member, you feel the scene feels bad, like the
Yeah,
structure of it.
you get all this information.
It's kinda like-
you feel sorry for these characters, and then all of a sudden they're gone.
Blammo.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the
It's like Harry
play of
Potter.
that
Yeah.
scene was very fitting to it. As to the answer of why she's a part of Crane's plans and guilty by association.
she also was saying some real fucking stupid shit to a bunch of lunatics who had just killed an entire train.
You know what Lori's problem
Yeah,
was?
she really didn't appreciate her
Yeah,
situation.
like
She did not.
So,
Like,
something's coming.
She
There's
ran her mouth off a
You're
bit
talking
too
to a
much.
serial killer, and you're like, "What are you gonna do? Fucking stab me?" Like, you're gonna get stabbed. I'm sorry.
Hey, fuck you.
I'm not victim shaming
I
here, but
actually
you made a
totally
bad
listened to
fucking
that.
move.
Thank you very much.
But even from Abel's perspective, though, it sounds like even if she said absolutely nothing, that entire thing, he would have seen her and be like, "Oh, you're Crane."
Yeah, well, no, see,
Dead.
Laurie's fate was decided when Thomas threatened Abel's kids. Like, if that's the game you're gonna play, then that's the game we're gonna play. Is kind of Abel's approach to life of like, I don't want to be the
I'll
person to
save my
escalate to this
kids
point,
and
but
kill
if you
yours.
cross this line, as Caleb said, if we're already shoplifting, you started this game. So I will take it to its logical conclusion faster than you can. That's Abel's mentality for everything. He doesn't believe in escalation, right? Like there's just you.
That can't be true.
No.
There's a start and a
Like
finish.
it's this
He's
idea.
not
No, it's just like
hypocritical either, okay.
instant. It's like just
like a
instant
button.
top speed.
Yeah,
Right.
you press go.
Right, you just go fully
what
to
it
the
is.
top because
Oh.
if somebody slaps
Yeah.
you and you like for an Abel fight, somebody
Dead.
Most people, you slap somebody, they hit you back, you hit them a couple times, now you're scrapping, it gets meaner, somebody pulls a knife. In Abel's head, it goes, you slapped me, so you are capable of escalating conflict. Fine. I'm not
So
going
you're
to
dead.
find out who can.
So you
right,
kill 'em.
just let's go right to the end where you die because there's no point in playing this escalating game and one of us comes up like I'm just going to skip to the end.
Abel's crazy.
I'm glad Abel's not a human that I associate with.
So I think that was the Laurie motivation of like, well, we're playing this game, we're going to play this game. Fine.
What are your thoughts on Lori, Alex?
It started off bad. She
Yeah.
came in the middle of the night.
Sure.
Guns were drawn. It was
Yeah.
conflict.
Yeah.
Her chance to redeem herself failed. She was a little abrasive the whole time. There was that, I don't remember what the conflict was anymore, even with the
Right.
kid. And then on the train, she took that little pin,
Yeah.
disconnected her car.
She
Yeah.
made that was
Yeah.
bad.
She made a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
She made a bad choice on that part for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think it was just the chain of bad experiences.
I think that also on the train too. I think everyone was like,
Oh,
"Hey,
and she tried to get us kicked off.
let's be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yes," and that was the thing where it was like, "Hey, let bygones be bygones. All right, let's just like forget what happened. Let's move along. Let's go our separate ways." And she just kept driving it home.
So what
Yeah.
was not
She
innocent.
kept driving and driving and driving it home, and it was just like, dude, leave us alone.
She was kind of a jerk to everybody.
She was kind of a crow about it, you know?
Yeah, a little bit. Most
Just
definitely.
showing
There's a
her
little
Most
ma in her.
definitely.
She just couldn't let it go.
Definitely a little bit of minor.
She should have betrayed her dad and joined us right off the bat. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
That's on
Yeah.
her.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's as easy as that.
To be very clear, I don't actually think I know I'm saying it for memes, but to be very clear, I don't blame Lori. But there are people with which escalation doesn't work. So Abel skips to the end.
It's a good thing nobody slapped Abel.
Yeah. Thank God.
Stranger just slap Abel. He's just going to kill him.
I mean, I'm lucky, you know, that we didn't kill each other right there in Los Angeles. You know? That'd have been it.
Well, like Abel would never kill a brother.
No.
If
Right.
if the escalation end would be the brother being knocked out, so he would like just beat them senseless.
Yeah, that's as far as
Is
that
how I
goes.
imagine that.
Right? Like it's this. You can legitimately cut this, but it's the same. It's the same thing that in legal cases you can argue that if you draw a gun on somebody and they choose to step towards you, that you are justified to shoot them in self-defense for fear of your life. Because if somebody is willing to be aggressive towards you when you're holding a weapon, that means that they are willing to escalate into lethal force. So you're instantly justified in shooting them. Like that's a legitimate legal case.
I'd call it a pro-life tip.
That's a real pro-life tip. Yes. Like
Bravo.
Life hack.
Really interesting information. Hey, you got a pencil and paper I can borrow?
I'm not gonna. You're gonna have a tough time. You're gonna have a tough time with that in court now. But it is a
Right.
way of thinking
Now
about
that
it.
we're-
So.
Especially if you're a judge.
Now let's talk about jury nullification.
Yes.
Yes.
Jury nullification is when
No.
you just shoot.
No.
No, we're not doing this. What's the next fucking question?
Cam, Harper felt like he ended up being a theme of loss with losing mom, losing arm, a best friend. One might even say himself.
And an eye. Okay, let's not forget about the eye.
Yeah, but you wanted that to
The
happen.
duffel bag.
And
The duffel
The
bag.
duffel bag.
And a horse.
And the horse.
Was this difficult for you to role play
That was your fault. That was
sustainably, or did you enjoy the challenge?
Weird that the only thing he didn't lose was his virginity, right?
God damn. God damn.
Joke.
Fuck me.
Zingers.
I got on radio.
That's the joy of live radio. You can't cut that.
No, you can't cut it.
The answer is yes and no. It was definitely difficult to do. It was exhausting. I'll say that. I was not having a good time most of the time I was playing. I experienced a lot of bleed through my character, so that's how I like to play. Like for me, the thrill of RPGs is getting to experience intense emotions in a safe space. So I loved it. I was having a fucking blast, but I was also miserable, if that makes any sense. It was definitely exhausting to do for that long. I wouldn't want to play another character that's going through that much bullshit anytime soon. But at the end of the day, it was kind of my bread and butter. Like it was really satisfying and cathartic to be able to like act out in those ways a lot of the time in situations where I would try to have a more healthier outlook on the situation, or try to handle things in a less violent way. So yeah, it was rough, but I had a blast with it.
We love to see it. Were all the judges under Crane's control? Were they all sent after the boys, and did they keep hunting after? It says after he was done. I'm guessing after Crane died.
Well, there weren't any
Yeah.
judges left, were they? We fucking killed them all.
Yeah, I think so. In my head, there's 4 judges. One of them was killed by Amos and his people.
Yeah.
And he, when the judge showed up on the train, was like, "What the fuck? We killed you." Not realizing that this is a different judge, right? In Deadlands canon, there are 4 judges that got hung by Texans and then just rose up and started to kill people along the Chisholm Trail. In my version, I think, or in our version, Crane manipulated all of these judges to do those things up until when the Texans hung them. And then with Ash's help and a lot of studying, they figured out rituals that they could perform to bring these judges back and then put them under his control. Kind of. I don't think it was perfect control. I think like this list of names written in blood, it's sort of like ritual of like, okay, well, I hope the judge does this. I hope he kills these people. I don't think all of them were perfect leashes, and then they were all killed. I don't know. And I think only one was put after Meadow and Hiram, and the same one that killed Meadow is the one that killed Hiram.
So Hiram's dead.
Which one was that?
Oh wait,
The
shit.
pistol?
No, because Ash killed Hiram.
Yeah, Ash killed Hiram. I'm sorry, that changed. That was the original plan, I think, is the judge killed him. And they were like, oh, Ash killing him is way cooler. So I think that happened. I think the premise was that, anyway, I can shut up about this, right? I think the premise was that Ash was sort of leading the judges away whenever he could and was trying to hide Meadow and Hiram from the judge. And then he eventually had to shoot Hiram. Otherwise, it would have been highly suspicious and he would have been outed and Crane would have killed him. And then eventually the judge found Meadow, even though he tried to obfuscate that for a while. We almost did a scene where Mal would show up and talk to Meadow for a bit, but it's one of those things where it didn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, don't you hate those?
Yeah, in the structure of it, right?
Right.
Like,
There was
it wouldn't
nothing
make
going
sense.
on
Not
with the
organically.
crows that it would have fit into well.
Right, absolutely. But yeah, I think the boys killed them all, and I think they hung them all too. They got to
Yeah.
skip the whole, spider legs growing out of their bodies for the last few for the sake of expediency. But,
We didn't hang the last one.
Well,
did
they were
we?
scared of us at that point. I brought rope for.
I think it was just a line of like they shot the last two judges, those two judges that showed up, and then there was just a shot of them swinging from ropes in the background.
Yeah, we probably
We just moved
hung them
on.
from the same rope over a bar. They were counterweighting each
I was going
other.
to say,
That's cool.
It was
if
very
anything, I'm a terrible listener, so I'm an unreliable.
You're in a good line of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I tried to split up our questions into, I guess, themes. We have 3 like game pertaining questions, but they all are about the Spades deck. Can you explain more about how Thaddeus's deals worked mechanically when cards in the deck began to get stacked for initiative / tearing cards, etc.? In the finale, the initiative deck actually hurt the Crow Boys. Can you break it all down? Was what we saw in the finale the worst case scenario? It was delightfully evil.
Yeah, finale was worst case scenario, right? It was doing a wound every time it got some combination to a random crow boy.
Yeah. So it could have gotten out of control
yeah.
eventually.
Yes.
It didn't then.
It did like 2 wounds, I think.
It
Yeah.
did too, but I
popped
think
off
that was only when we got 4 aces.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We had 4 of a kind,
Well,
4 aces.
Yeah, I think it was any 4 of the kind. It was just there was a bunch of aces,
Right.
Like early on, I had opportunities, I think, to activate some of it, and I didn't do that, so they'd keep making deals. And then I think with me and Marshall, it would just be like any time that I was like, oh, this seems like a fun thing to offer a deal for. How many cards do I think that's worth? And that was all a sliding scale, right? Of like, you even saw that in the finale, right? Of like one time you were offered like 2 cards for something, and then like 2 rounds later you were offered 5 cards for it. I think the deck's just trying to get more and more power, and it got like greedier, I guess,
Yeah,
or had more leverage.
The mechanic of the deck is to manipulate your players into taking as many cards as you possibly
Yes,
can
correct.
until they fuck themselves.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the
Yeah.
mechanic. There's no written, well, when you get 5 cards, it does this. When you get 6, no. You
Right.
fucking manipulate your players
Right.
until they fuck themselves.
Yeah. And then Austin Holt helped me figure out the final draft of like all the powers and the different stuff the deck could do with different combinations, because it wasn't needed for a long time, right? For a long time, it was like, well, there's only a pair in here, so I know what a pair does,
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Because it was a kind of symbolic way that Thaddeus could fuck us over constantly, even in game and outside of game.
Yeah, even when it wasn't his turn, he got to fuck
Yeah,
with us.
he,
And it was
no matter
really-
whose turn it was, he would still pop in there and
just ruin
you'd
your
offer him a
day.
deal, and he would say something
always
like,
takes
"Yeah,
the deal,
sure, I'll take
no
that.
matter what the deal
That
is.
sounds pretty
Nice.
good.
Fuck games.
Yeah, I'm in."
Sounds
And
pretty
everyone
good.
would say, "No, don't do that."
We
And-
got
and
space
he
to
would
spare,
say
boys.
yes.
We got space to spare.
Yeah, it kind of gets back in the, like, not that I played Deadlands Classic, but the Deadlands Classic, like how the hucksters are pitched thematically, I feel like the deck does really well. Because otherwise you just have deals with the devil, which are kind of like, I don't know. They're cool, but you're not going to do them very often.
Thaddeus would have been a lot weirder if I was doing a deal every like 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Because I'd be fucking blasting like crazy, I think.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That'd have been nuts.
Yeah.
Just a high power all the time. You mean I can roll D&D fireballs in Savage Worlds and they'll blow up? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that a lot.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy.
I've been crazy.
But that would have made for much more complicated for me to try to play out somebody losing their goddamn mind for 5 seasons rather than
Yeah.
just, recovering from alcoholism and, all his childhood traumas. Also going batshit insane would have been rough.
Yeah.
It felt like a really good meta representation of the storyline too, in a way that like sometimes in the Edge of the Empire system, the Destiny Point flow like shows the flow of light side dark side power from players to GM and back. I think it also, like from a meta perspective, like you guys have been saying, just like slowly set us up that you are screwing future you. You're screwing future you. You're screwing future you. We're like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Future you is going to be here real soon, man. Are you sure you want to keep doing this?
Yeah.
Yes,
like
I do.
It's
We're
more
screwing
about
you
that.
in 3 minutes.
It's more about that than what the deck actually does, right? It's just about the fear about
Right.
the future threat. But I don't remember all the specific card combinations. I think worst case scenario was wound, and then there was like a shaken result. There was like I don't know. Hey, it's me, Future Caleb. I'm reading from my prep book. Here's what all the effects do. Flush is deal a card, pair is deal 2 cards, 3 of a kind is deal 5 cards and then pick someone to become vulnerable. Straight is the same but 8 cards and distracted. Full house is one of the boys would have gotten a hindrance permanently and I would have picked the target of their next action. 4 of a kind was a wound, but all my notes are kind of fuzzy here. I don't know what Caleb on the day meant. But royal flush, it looks like I finally would have used Ellis's chest, that chest hole he has, and had a Manitou like rip out of it. Okay, back to the retrospective.
Eric would like to know, does the Spades deck turn the people it disappears into Manitou, or does it just send them to the hunting grounds?
No, for sure they get Manitou, dude. They get Manitou the fuck out of them.
Manitou.
Yeah, Manitou.
Mana dude.
Meadow's mother, fucking Manitou. Mayhew, Manitou.
Uh-oh.
I don't know who else.
That's all he disappeared, but
That's all I
I
just...
would have been Grace. Ooh, it would have
Could have
been
been,
Grace.
could have
Yeah.
been Grace. She would have been a badass
Should
man
have been
too.
Grace.
Man, she would have
been
haunted
badass.
Should
me.
have been Grace.
She would have haunted me.
I don't know if I did it.
Yeah, she'd have been the one that caused Harper to do it.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would have been sick, actually.
That would have been terrible.
Like if he had
That's sick.
forgotten her, but then she shows up and she's like, "How could you forget me?"
Well, he wouldn't have forgotten her. She just would have been in his dreams every night saying,
just,
like, you let me die. And
Right, it's like the Buffy thing, right? Where like once you get turned into a vampire, you're just a fucking mean ass person, and all the good
Yeah.
parts you go away.
It just
That's what I
corrupts
feel
you.
like getting Manitude is like.
Just mad.
Just
it's like that episode of
just
Rick
angry.
and Morty.
yeah, you have no empathy, right? You become a sociopath immediately.
Just a jerk.
Yeah, just a
Just
real jerk.
It jerkifies you.
Real jerk.
So Marshall, when Thaddeus discusses chatting with the mailman, do you think he ever worried about giving up the crow's location by having this discussion, or that they were baited by the mailman to go where Chatton was to be discovered?
You mean Chayton?
Chayton, yeah.
Man.
How embarrassing.
good listener.
I think
Good
if
listener.
Marshall had considered those things, Thaddeus would have been a lot more concerned about it. Yeah, because he's fucking paranoid. So I think maybe we just didn't talk about it in any scenes or anything like that. But yeah, I think he did have a lot of anxiety about this guy knows who that was. Oh, well, that's a problem. And he's seen me before, so that's another connection. This is a very long way away from home. I thought I was far enough away already. Names of people coming back this far down, that was probably a major threat he was concerned about, I would say.
Thaddeus is just a really reckless character, is how I always picture him.
Yeah.
He's like reckless
Yeah.
incarnate, where it's like, oh, no, problem. Okay, very like 60% solution. Cool, do it.
Yeah, literally.
It backfires
he comes to a
90% of the
leak.
time. Like, it could work though, and it'll kind of just, I don't have to deal with it. So yeah,
if
handle it.
Marshall or if Thaddeus lived in 2020, his car would be held together by duct tape, like that type of thing, where like he has an issue in his engine and he gets down there with a fucking C clamp and some fucking caulk and just starts gluing shit together until his car works again.
Gives it a couple good smacks.
Yeah, and then eventually the car explodes while he's driving it.
It's almost like he's a gambler.
Yeah, not a good one, it seems. Poor guy.
No, he's not.
Never
He's
was.
not, unless he
Never was a
cheats.
good
Yeah, that's his thing, right?
He cheats. He cheats a
Right?
lot.
He
though.
cheats. He still loses a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and like he never did anything bad to anybody. He's just bad at being a good person.
I think you killed
Yes,
that little
very
girl.
much.
So
Or you at least
unfortunately,
named her.
he was too much like his father.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Chayton's-
Okay, yeah, baby.
Bad at being a good person is the best Thaddeus description ever. Because I agree. He's
Yeah.
not a bad person. He's just not, he's real bad at being good.
He tries. Every single time I was like, hell yeah, good for him. He's trying.
And then he fucks
And then
it.
he would fuck it up. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Shit, there he goes
yeah,
again.
I mean, I'm going to be mad because, like, yeah, you did fuck us up pretty bad, but, thanks, I guess.
Alex, do you regret letting Eliza go, or was that always going to happen once Ellis became harrowed?
You didn't think I was going to bring
I
Eliza
think
back, right?
Yeah, I think I made that a problem. I think I made that a question he had to answer because otherwise it was just going to be Ellison way, right? And Eliza thinks you're dead, and that's fine, and
I mean,
and doesn't know anything. for how long, right?
As a player, I knew that like Ellis definitely wouldn't. He would let her go because in his mind that's never gonna work in his mind. You know, that's like the first scene of him coming back. He was burning the picture of her, right? That was just kind of him saying, well, that life is over. Even if he tried to make it work, he didn't think it would ever work. And then it just kind of progressed throughout playing, where he found out more and more about the hunting grounds and the reckoners and all that, and he kind of just justified what he was doing by going on this noble quest to cleanse the world of evil. But like me as a player, yeah, it would have been pretty cool to have Eliza show up more, and it would have been really neat to have her with the, whatever you want to call it, the machine, the mech.
Ooh,
Sure.
yeah.
Against Crane, and have Ellis and her, team up. But I don't know. I think just the way the story was going, I knew as a player, like, okay, yeah, we can't have that ending. There's got to be more. There's got to be more tragedy to it.
Yeah.
There didn't have to be, but
Listen, we could have had a Magnificent Seven. It would have been dope. Mondragon and Eliza, that'd been good.
Yeah,
That would have been
cool.
nuts.
That'd been really cool.
Caleb, I guess this is a little offshoot, but did you know he was not going to accept the potion?
For sure.
Yeah, we
Yep.
talked about it.
You guys
talked
did
about
talk
that.
about that?
So this thing happens between. So I call everybody pretty frequently, I think, and like talk about next session stuff. Like not for every session, right? But like I don't know. You're probably the least frequently person
I
I've
was about
talked
to say, I was like, I don't think you called me even a little bit.
No, we've had. How many calls we had? Like maybe 3. Something like that.
It's about
For
the
the
same
whole
for me. Don't
campaign.
feel bad.
Maybe.
You and I have probably had like 5 or 10. Me and Cameron have probably had like 20 or something, But like what happens when I call Alex is I call him with the intention to not spoil anything. And then I just want to tell him like a little bit so he can have something he can think about. Because it's hard as a character when you're presented with a situation that you haven't thought through how that character would react, And like, a lot of the fun is improving that in the moment. But with big shit like that, it's nice to know ahead, at least for me, right? And so I talked to you a little bit with like, oh yeah, I think Eliza's going to show up. And then it was like, oh, maybe I've got something cool with like, and then I was like, okay, well, fucking just, she's going to give you this potion. And then Alex brought up the idea of, what was your contribution? Because your idea was way better than mine.
I can't remember exactly how it went, but I just remember we were on the fence about whether or not I would drink the potion.
Right. Yeah.
And I was just like hammering it home that I would get to keep the powers if I drink the potion.
Right.
I'll become mortal again.
Because my idea was going to be, listen, you can drink this potion, but you're going to lose everything. You're going
Right.
to lose all your Harrowed powers. And you were like, no, fuck that. Let me keep everything because
Yeah.
I'm not going to take the potion either way.
Because it would have more gravity to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely did. That
And
was like
like-
my whole thing of like, why the fuck are you not taking this potion?
Yeah.
To be clear, though, like if it was presented in an earlier season, 100%, like that potion
Right.
would have been downed right then
Yep.
and there. But at the point where it was introduced, like Ellis was too far gone down this road. He
Yeah.
convinced himself that he wanted to do this.
Yeah, he's already casually, grubbing down on horse carcasses and
Yeah.
stuff.
And people,
Casually.
every once in a while,
But with stuff like that, like, I think it would have been way worse if I didn't tell you about it.
Yeah.
And the interesting part wasn't whether you would say no or not anyway. The interesting part was like everybody's reaction to that, I think.
Yeah. I think we started doing that a lot more in the end game. Like,
Yeah.
the last season, the last few sessions,
Yeah.
we really wanted to make an impact. So we talked about that kind of stuff more.
So when deciding to create the podcast, did you guys expect to be here now?
Well, I mean, I didn't think we were going to do retrospectives.
No.
I wasn't aware, that was
I
going to
didn't
be a
think
thing.
about it either.
I knew we were going to finish it. Like, we wanted to finish it as a project, but
Yeah, that was kind of my whole reason for joining it. Was because if we're making a podcast, it means we're going to have to finish it, right? Like, we have to?
I think that if we didn't get
We just got it.
if we didn't get the listeners that we did, we would have probably just stopped doing it, right?
Oh,
Because of the
maybe.
momentum we
Maybe.
A couple of times, maybe.
I don't know. Would we?
I feel like if we kept
I
on
probably would have.
Yeah.
So for his part,
unfortunately.
there was a lot of editing
lot of
and
work
game
involved,
planning
yeah.
and stuff that he
It's
had
a
to do.
fuck
Yeah.
ton of
It
work
was a lot
involved.
easier for us.
Yeah, it was very easy for me.
Yeah.
Like
It was very easy for
at
me.
some point we probably would have gone, well, let's just keep running this game, and then we probably would have just kept playing it and
Yeah.
then stopped recording it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that feels like
be
vain, but it is a
difficult
lot
to
of work.
keep
And if nobody
going.
was listening,
Yeah.
like, why would I do it?
Yeah.
I think knowing
The Discord made a huge difference
Oh
in
my
my
God,
mind.
yeah.
Once we had
Yeah.
people we were talking to who were like, every time we posted an episode, there was, 30 messages in the Crow's Current spoilers
I'm
about that.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way that we were going to let that stop. Like there were
Yeah,
people who were
agreed.
excited to listen to it at midnight when the episode dropped. Like I would have been over here banging on your door if you would have told me that you were going to stop.
Yeah. I'm unfortunately addicted to that feedback. I think at this point, it's nuts. It's a fucking drug. It's just a straight dopamine hit. It's like
It doesn't matter even what they're saying. There could be like, wow, Harper's a fucking idiot piece of shit asshole. And I'm like,
I'll say it again.
Yeah.
You care enough to say that.
Say
That
my
was
name.
always
Yeah.
me.
Nice.
like Mondays are literally better than cocaine, you know?
So with how the campaign ended, what did you hate the most about it?
Like 90% of the sessions were recorded after midnight.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they were.
Yeah,
Yep.
and a lot of
Yes,
us had
they
worked a full
were.
day at our normal job, our
Yeah.
day job.
wake up. Yeah, for me, I would wake up, go to the gym for an hour and a half, go to work for 8 hours, scarf down whatever food I could make in 20 minutes, and then be over here already 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
And then we would
everyone was
record until
already
3
mad.
o'clock in the
Everyone
morning.
was mad. And
You'd have
Yeah.
to help me set up, and then I'd be fucking yelling in the corner because there was an audio issue.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't turn on AC.
Maybe that's where the campaign took a dark turn, huh?
yeah, right.
The fatigue.
Nah, this bad boy right here.
There was just like a lot of times where it was like, yeah, you would look over at somebody and they would just be dead. Like you could just see that
Zombied
they were
out, yeah.
physically exhausted. And it would be like, okay, I'm going to have to step up in this scene or something
Right,
like
and then
that.
it would be
'cause,
like, hey, it's your
there's
turn
no
in
way.
combat. You just took 3 wounds. And you're
Fine, kill me. I don't give a fuck. That means I don't have to show up
Okay.
at midnight anymore.
Yeah. It's like, shut up, dude. I don't know. I shoot. Fucking, can we be done tonight, please?
Nothing comes to mind for the campaign.
No.
No, I had a
Yeah.
fucking blast with the game.
Yeah.
Though. Nothing I hated.
Well, I
Hate
mean,
is very
we really
strong.
could have become like train robbers, though. That
That
would
would've
have
been
If
sweet.
we'd been a posse of train robbers.
That's what you wanted?
No, but it was just always something that we jokingly talked about, and you know, it could have been fun.
True, it's like playing D&D and being like, okay, well, what if we open a tavern? You guys think about that?
sounds pretty dope, dude.
Yeah, we
That
set up a
actually sounds
little
pretty dope.
outpost up in the mountains somewhere. There's some secret railroad that's been
fight
built up
rats.
north that nobody
Fight-
had paid attention to. We fucking hijacked that, put a fort on that bad boy. We
Ellis already
stack up
had
all our
enough
trains. We just start
background.
hoarding
you know?
trains, dude. Yeah.
I do have one.
Yeah, he knows all about it. Thaddeus worked for, train adjacent, building
How
some of
did
the
we end up
tunnels
on
and
trains?
stuff.
How did this happen?
Yeah, I
It's
don't know.
Western.
What did you... The
I-
question is, what
He
did you hate
hated
about
what
the
he missed
campaign?
out on.
Marshall said, what if we're
Trains.
collecting trains?
I do have one.
Yeah.
Like a legit one.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true.
The whole way that the fight with Crane went down, the storming the castle. I was really hoping for a bloody ending. I was hoping for some.
Yeah.
I was hoping for some character
Yeah,
deaths.
same.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed at the end of that a little bit when
Yeah,
no
me
one
too.
died.
I will say,
Me too.
looking back, I wish Marshall had taken the deal to erase Grace.
Sure.
Because what a fucking moment with that. I would have shot you, probably killed you,
Would have tried, yeah.
and then I would have been killed either by Crane or the other brothers trying to stop me. Like it would have been 2 brothers down in that moment at each other.
Which would have been crazy.
It would have been fucking crazy.
He would have tried to kill me.
We didn't even make it
crazy,
to
man.
Crane's room. We just all kill each other in the hall right before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Alex.
Die at our feet.
What I hate about that too is like I know that's a fucking problem, and I still couldn't do anything
Yeah,
about it.
it's not your fault.
Fault is a word that maybe shouldn't enter into it, right? But it's like, damn, could have done something differently,
Who'd you guys want dead?
Any of them.
I
And
Anybody.
everybody but
Yeah.
Lucky
The
would have been my
easiest ones
choice.
to kill would have been Abel in the moment, and then Harper. I took a whole bunch of shit to make it hard to kill Thaddeus, and
Yeah.
Ellis is Ellis.
Yeah.
And nobody wants Lucky to die.
Right.
Right.
I wanted Abel or Harper to die real bad in those final fights.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I would have been fine with Harper dying in that last fight one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Just the progression from being the one crow who still has like hope that he's going to be a good person to
Harper?
watching him cascade down and
Oh.
break apart through
Oh,
the
okay.
series.
I see what you're saying.
And then
And
him
then
dying
die.
at the last
Yeah.
moment. Like,
Okay.
I
yeah.
think it is very thematic of the show, though, that nobody did
Yeah.
die. I was disappointed in the moment too, but having time to reflect on it, I think it kind of works.
It's just
It's even
disappointing
worse.
that all of the crows don't get the just rewards they've earned.
Yeah.
They always get away with it just a little, even
Yep.
if they're worse off later on.
Yeah.
They still get away with it though.
They got away with it, and then they didn't do anything with it.
They didn't learn a lesson. No lesson
Yeah.
learned for most of them.
Yeah.
If they got away with it, it was just like kind of like, well,
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. That
was some crazy shit.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then they get
That's the scene we didn't see. Oh, fuck.
Crazy.
You guys remember the
time?
one? Yeah, that was fucked up.
Dude, remember when Thaddeus threw that Gatling gun at those dudes?
This peyote.
That was
this
some
peyote
crazy
Actually,
is gonna
I
wear
hope I
off
never
soon.
see you guys again. I'm fucking moving to Canada. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's a fucked up ending too, because it's like with no one dying at least immediately, like, and then everyone just goes their own way. See ya.
Honestly, that's one of the reasons I wanted Harper to go out like that.
See ya.
This could not end with all of the brothers alive. We kind of talked about wanting to end it on a funeral,
Yeah.
and in my mind, like, it had to be Harper. It absolutely had to be Harper.
It didn't have to be, but
I would have felt worse.
It absolutely had to be Harper.
In my mind, it did.
My issue was like it kind of felt kind of cheap. It didn't feel like a real death to me because it wasn't during gameplay.
Right.
That was my complaint with
Harper's?
it. Yeah, Harper's death.
I mean, he was alluding to it quite heavily during the end, though.
Didn't the whole ending feel kind of cheap to you guys? I didn't
Yeah.
feel.
Well, anything after the Meadow reveal. After, what
Right.
is that, 29?
Yeah.
29, we said this before. 29
Yeah.
was the end of the show. 31 was...
Have we ever felt good at the end of a campaign? I
We've
don't think
never
I've
made
ever-
it to the end of a campaign.
That's not true. We've done a couple.
Yeah, we've done a couple.
10
I guess
I
sessions.
don't
that's
know.
true.
Do you count West Marches? That
West
was
Marches,
a
we didn't make it
campaign.
to the end.
Yeah,
That was
I
That
fun.
think
definitely ended.
That was
I
like
know how
last-
long
yeah,
it
that's
But
was.
true.
like,
true.
when you finish a campaign, do you ever get a sense of like, oh my god, we did it? What a story! You know, what a. It just like ends, and you're like, okay, well, what are we gonna do next? You know?
Well, that's how I feel about this one. Sure, maybe it wasn't that last session, but like
Sure.
the end of the game, I still feel very satisfied and very, like, even listening back is catharsis for me.
I agree. I
Yeah,
did get that.
I like it now.
Like I like how the show ended. I think it's cool. I think it has a good ending. But I guess I'm asking, and maybe I'm beating a dead horse, but like as a player, when you finish the last session, do you have that sense of catharsis and completion?
I did this time, yeah.
Oh, cool. Hell yeah.
I felt relatively. I mean, yeah, I guess no, because we actually had to go back and do shit.
Yeah, yeah.
We had to go
I
back.
don't think
you
that's a
weren't
secret. I
Yeah.
don't think that's a secret
Well,
that we
yeah,
redid
so
shit.
we had to
Final
go back
scene,
and
like-
redo some shit because
Yeah, it's a final
It has
scene.
to
We're
be
not
like- yeah,
gonna.
yeah.
it was a little.
gotta be perfect.
That last one, the way we did it originally felt real chunky.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Yeah.
not a fan of it one bit.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
So I did not like it. The way it turned out, I like it a lot. Yeah, but the original scene, I just, it didn't feel right because all the boys were back together, which is weird because I'm sure a lot of the audience probably wanted that, you know, like to
Sure.
at least like see the brothers getting back together for this whole thing. But
It just didn't make any sense.
it just didn't make any sense. And I think this one makes a lot more like, yeah, you don't get the official epilogue for each character during the game, but I mean,
Yeah.
nor should you have in a game like this.
Right. Like if this were a Western movie, you would get the end, and that's what you would fucking get.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Like-
a tale of revenge through and through, and it should feel bad at the end.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
frankly, like I didn't even think we were going to give any epilogue shit here. I thought we were going to kind of, when people asked what happened to the boys, it was
Sure.
going to be a fuck you. Think about it.
Sure.
Yeah, but like everyone's got their own version still. It's like I
Yeah.
know how I pictured it
No one
ending.
knows
You
the
know how you
canon.
pictured it ending.
But no one knows.
Some people, yeah. I mean, there's no
Right.
official.
For sure.
There's no official ending.
Yeah, I like the way we did it today. I also expected a day to like just have nothing today, but I'm pretty cool with the way we're doing it now. Of like, yeah, there's all these there's all
Yeah.
these ideas. Who knows? No, I felt bummed after the show was over. But
Felt kind of empty.
yeah.
Yeah.
A big part of my life, was gone, and that's super weird. But I echo what Cameron was saying earlier, that like I don't know that I want to pick that character up again. I put more thought into that over the last 3-4 years than I have like a lot of other things, and I'm just
Yeah.
tired.
I felt genuine loss. Like I would like go home and like sit there. I literally like had a moment where I felt bad for what I did to Harper. Like I literally thought to myself, man, I feel bad for the things that I inflicted on a made up person that doesn't exist. And like, I don't know, it was a weird roller coaster of emotions for me, because at one point I feel so proud of the story that we told, but man, I feel so fucking bad for that dude.
yeah.
Yeah, he had a rough one.
What was your favorite part of the campaign?
Ellis dying.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
I mean,
like no cap. There was not a better moment
Yeah.
in the show than
Yep.
Yeah,
that.
you're right.
Yeah,
You're
for
right.
sure. Easily the best part. Not to mention the fact that we got that shit recorded.
Fuck yes.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
yeah, that
Yeah,
felt
glad we
good.
did
That
that.
felt
was-
good. Even just like, because I forgot our reactions on.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to that episode where it's like, it's even, I think there's like me questioning, like, what the fuck are you guys doing or some
Yeah,
shit?
I
And
can't believe it,
like
yeah.
you guys are like doing some bullshit where you're like
Yeah.
looking at the rules
I'm a
for
new
like,
player,
well,
I
we
don't
gotta
know
roll
any of
this.
this.
And I'm like, these idiots, what are you doing? And then just like the whole reaction of everyone. I can't believe we were still recording.
Oh,
during
well, I
that
love
thing.
that it's kind of on mic too, because we
Oh,
were
yeah.
like standing,
Yeah.
or off mic. I mean, we were kind of like standing up away
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
mic, and you can't really hear it. You know, I
That-
kind of
Yeah, it felt first of all genuinely exhausted.
Yeah.
Like we were all just like,
Yeah,
what
that
the
sucked.
fuck?
Well, that
Yeah.
was like, okay, I guess this whole story's fucked now. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
God
great
damn it.
one.
Yeah.
I just got so lucky over the course of this campaign at just the right moments.
He really
Like every
did.
time.
That
That's pretty cool, man.
I think that was the
I wasn't kidding when I think Ellis could fight God.
Yeah.
I think in a way he did. You know, he went to God said, "Hey, you need to go to hell." God sent him to hell,
He was like,
and
nah,
he
bro.
won and came back.
That was the moment too. That Joker pull was when I think I like that fight into the Joker pull also took me to a new level of buy-in in the campaign too, and like that set it. And
Oh,
it, like
absolutely.
I agree that was the best moment of the fucking campaign. And like what a way to just Jesus Christ.
And that was the first time too where we were like planned out a session sort of where we were like, hey, everybody needs to be real fucking sad and miserable. We can't make jokes this whole session. We should do a funeral. Think about what you're going to say at the funeral. We're not going to bring back Ellis for, a season or some shit. That was your idea, I think, Cameron, day where you were like, yeah, we can't bring him back right away.
Really? I don't even remember that at
So
all.
I think that started that whole like taking the production more seriously too.
Crazy moment for sure. And it was brought completely through dice rolls, which I thought was really cool.
And I don't think any of us really knew what the hard mechanics were because you told us as players, don't look in the back of the book.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that shit.
I didn't know how they worked.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that was a thing that was in the system.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could
Just
come
knew there
back.
was- there was
thought that
something.
the
I knew there was
stupid,
something was
okay,
drawn up.
well, he's dead.
A Joker, I think, but I didn't know
Yeah.
what
I think I had vague knowledge. When was the last time we played Deadlands before this? We never did, right?
Deadlands?
me and
No,
Isaac did.
we played
Isaac
Savage
did.
Worlds.
I feel like I knew about because I remember when we were having the conversation, I was the one who was explaining it to everybody.
Ooh, yeah. I think it's because I got real hyped about it when we started the game.
Maybe that was it because
I was
I
like,
definitely knew about it.
It's because Caleb said, "Hey, don't look in the back of the book," and you said, "Well, I'll just take a peek."
Well, I didn't have a book at the
That was
time.
a cool
look.
moment, though, because he's like,
Quick look.
okay, now look in the back of the book.
Sure.
And I saw that supernatural attribute, and I was like, oh my God,
That's
Oh my
fucking
god,
cool,
I'm gonna
man.
punch a sea
this
monster
is
to
going to be
death.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a knife in my mouth and then punch a sea monster to death.
I still can't believe there are people that don't think that was real. Like, there's no way we're that good at actors. There's no way.
Oh, the pulling the Joker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
People
real.
think that's not real.
We've had a couple people be like, "Is that real?"
I mean, it's hard to believe.
It is hard to
Yeah.
believe. I'll
Yeah.
give it to them.
Now there were
I-
some
I honestly
cards
think there was-
dealt out of the deck, right? Like we used the deck as it stood.
Yeah, I
so
think
there were
so.
like 5 or 10 cards out of the deck.
But I was only seasoned 2. I only got
Two
2 pulls.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the first one wasn't it. I
right.
remember.
So on
Yeah.
your second pull, it's like a 1 in 40 chance.
Yeah.
It's like a 2.5%
I
chance.
saw it. I just like dropped it. I remember like
Yeah, I feel like I can remember
Yeah, I
your
remember you
laugh.
dropped
I'm
it,
just
and I
like,
was
what the fuck?
Why is he getting all weird about this? I don't know. Why are you
Alex,
playing
you
with cards?
still
We're done.
you carry that card in your wallet, right?
oh, I've got it in a sleeve and I've got it in
Okay.
like a dice box kind of thing. Caleb got us some kind of nice metal dice in a tin, and it fits perfectly in the lid of it.
sick.
You
Nice.
kept
Putting
it.
that in the foam. Yeah, I've got
We
it.
should
Oh, that's actually
we should
really
get a
Mm-hmm.
good picture of that so we could put it on Patreon.
Okay, yeah, I can get one.
That's very cool. I didn't know you kept that.
I didn't either. That's actually awesome. I guess my favorite part of the campaign is just kind of seeing how, like, well, I guess in retrospect, anyways, during it kind of sucked, but just seeing how like the characters changed and just seeing how people stayed so true to the characters that they had from years ago. Like we had one idea and we kept true to these characters like as much as humanly possible for just years and years and years.
We literally made them 4 years ago.
Yeah, and it's insane that like these characters had a organic growth, which I think is really fascinating. Even in like other long campaigns, I feel like I don't know. I've never seen characters change this much organically without like weird forced instances and stuff like that. I just didn't think the brother mechanic would be that cool, and it was
Very cool.
easily the coolest thing to be so gripped by another person's action during a campaign. Because so many times during campaigns and stuff, you have a party of like 4 people that are like, your friends or whatever, who cares? And then like you care about what they do, but it doesn't really affect you that much. But like with these pre-established relationships of like, okay, you like love this person, but you genuinely also hate this person. And then when they make a decision, you're just like, oh, man, I hate you so much, and I can't not like you right now. So I don't know. That was my favorite part for sure.
Can't top that. Yeah.
I'm down to 2 questions. Is there anything of pertinence that you'd like to touch base on our past campaign? I think we got a lot of information out.
Yeah, dude.
So I don't have, like I said, I have 2 questions. One question is, are we keeping a cowboy element for our next campaign?
For sure. We're doing sci-fi cowboys. We're going to be on some weird planet that's going to have a ton of Western elements, because we really like that shit. I didn't realize how much of my childhood was baked into Westerns until we played this game, to be honest.
We wanted to keep playing Savage Worlds.
Yeah.
And Savage Worlds does best with guns.
Yeah.
And you have very limited avenues if you want to use guns. Like you can do modern, which I don't want to play a fucking modern game.
Yeah.
We could do
fun.
super sci-fi, which we kind of bounced around, but like a couple of us are not super into that. So we kind of landed on a blend of something familiar, which is Western, and something not so familiar, which is sci-fi.
With an audio medium too, you want stuff, this is a point Alex made, where like you want stuff that people can relate to. And when we started talking about sci-fi, it was like, well, like Star Wars is one thing because you can say TIE fighter, and if people are listening to a Star Wars actual play podcast, they probably know what a TIE fighter is. But if you're doing like hardcore, real out there sci-fi, it's like every single time you have to stop and build a word picture from nothing.
You lose your touchstones.
Yeah.
Well, this might be semantics, but would you describe our next campaign as cowboy or Western?
Ooh.
I would describe it as
Because I'm thinking Western.
Yes, Western. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were probably cowboys in the setting, but you're not playing cowboys.
Right. It's a space Western.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Yes,
Cowboy
space
Bebop.
Western is what I'm imagining.
Space Western on one planet, unless shit gets crazy somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
unless the players fuck that up pretty bad.
Well, you just put it out there.
Who knows?
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
buckle up.
Marshall will figure
now we
something
know-
out.
now
The
we know
only
it's
thing I
possible.
care about is getting off the planet now.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I don't know how much more we want to say, but it'll be kind of I think a very unique setting, very Western inspired, kind of the same shit we've been doing that we love doing. Maybe a little bit less tragic, hopefully.
Oh, we'll see, pal.
We want
I
to.
think everyone's coming in with like more upbeat, less murderous characters this
It's
time
gonna
around.
change. It's gonna change. 2
Yeah,
seasons
I
in.
feel like
You'll see.
it's just going to be like a natural progression of
I
characters.
think you told me, Caleb, that you had a description for Sounds Like Crows, which was bad people in a bad situation.
Oh, no, I think it was no one is a good person.
Yeah.
This is sort of going to be good people stuck in a bad system.
Yeah.
So it's like instead of every single person the crows interact with just being a terrible person or being a person that's forcing them to make hard choices, hopefully there'll be some people they like, right? And it'll be more of this like struggle against a bigger system forced into conflict with other people through the system rather than forced into conflict with people because you're both terrible murderers.
And that in the backdrop of a space Western. I think that's how you described it to me, and I was sold.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, I've really enjoyed this. I know we've been calling it retrospective. I don't know why I don't like that. We can call it whatever you guys want to call it.
What do you like?
I've really enjoyed getting to know you guys and get the nitty gritty for our listeners. Our last question, and I think it's my favorite question to ask you guys. How dare? Where do you get off?
Listen, idiot. That's your fault.
Who are you talking to?
Whoever sent us
I
this
had this
question.
question asked of me once. and
People always ask this question like they
very
didn't
simple.
know. You got to fucking season 3 and you kept listening and you have the audacity to ask me how dare? You could have stopped listening
Hey,
at any
listen,
time. You liked
I
it.
had the
okay?
audacity to come in the last year, listen to everything, bully my way onto the team, and still ask, how dare you? Those are the cojones I have.
Well, I guess it's pretty much summed up why you're fired now, huh?
Yeah, you're out. Sorry.
Good thing we didn't sign any contracts, huh?
That's a rookie move. How dare?
I don't know. I think we just followed through with everything we set up.
I think so.
Sometimes you gotta dare. You know?
Sometimes you gotta dare. That's true.
No, honestly. You guys
Dare
have
to do
done
drugs.
Well-
you've done a superb job, a wonderful job. I think there's a reason you guys, it may be a cult following right now, but there's a reason that people resonate with the story that you guys have been telling. And everybody's excited to see where you go.
I'm excited to lose 45% of our fan base.
Yeah. It's gonna go downhill
Oh,
from
it's
here.
gonna be way more than that. Everyone's gonna listen to first episode and say, "Ooh, let's
Nah,
listen
dude.
to Crows
I think
again,"
it's
and
gonna
then
be
give
good.
up.
I think it'll be good.
They sound
mean,
happy.
And
excited
then
for it.
realize just how bad Crows was to
Like
begin with.
nothing's changed, right? Every single game that we as a collective have played together, I have enjoyed more than the game before it, right? And it's just the next game. I don't know. I got really stressed out about it for a hot minute, and then I was like, this is stupid. We're just playing the same game that we always play. It's always some dumb idea. Doing Deadlands all brothers, like that's not inherently a good idea, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, there's gonna be people are gonna love this one. People are gonna love the next one. People are gonna hate
Yeah.
this
Can't
one.
make
People are gonna
everybody
hate
happy.
the first one.
We have a 1-star review on Apple.
Yeah, it's gonna
We have
be-
a
it's gonna be one of those
one-star
things.
review.
We do?
What's it say?
How come you didn't screenshot that,
It's
dude?
not a review, it's a rating. We have a 1-star rating.
They don't have the guts
They
to
didn't
fucking say anything
They just
about
put
it.
1 star.
It's the guy we
It's
banned.
all the cussing, you know.
Oh, these guys are potty mouths.
1 star.
It's gonna be cool. Everybody's character seems dope so far. Got cool art coming in.
Yeah, it
Also-
sounds like we're gonna have some
Yeah, we're
super
gonna have
sick
some
art.
super cool art. I'm really excited
This person
to.
seems extremely talented.
I'm really excited to hype them up when we finally get
Yeah,
our
that'd be
hands
cool.
on their pieces and
Yeah, get your hands on their pieces.
yeah,
Hype them up, baby.
hype them up.
A bunch
They
of
deserve it.
new setting mechanics, which will be cool. Sort of Spades Deckian.
Adjacent.
Spades Deckian,
We're doing the space
huh?
deck again, ladies and gentlemen.
Except it's
well,
close.
This time there's
This-
2.
You know, it's like how we do it better, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's how Caleb.
Caleb, how did the stakes
how
in
do
the
you
Spades
top
deck?
the Spades deck?
You make 2 of them.
Oh, I
Spades decks.
almost said,
Isaac's
"Fuck this,
left.
dude."
Bye,
I don't
Isaac.
care. I got work tomorrow. I don't give a shit.
Wow.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess that's
Hell
how we
yeah.
dare, Alex.
I mean, you know, I love that you dare. I love that you'll continue. Hopefully, you'll continue daring.
Should we just say like a farewell?
Yeah,
Thank
what do you wanna
you
do, Alex?
to everyone.
I love you and good night.
Ooh, that's very good. I'll do my best Harper voice. I love you all. Good night.
Hey, it's me, Harper Crow. I'm real
You
sad.
guys are really good.
I don't like things, especially happy.
We're professional actors.
The key is you gotta plug your nose, open your throat. Oh, hi, what's going on, everybody?
Well, all right.
Fucking Harper.
Hank,
Classic Daisy Crow.
Alex, you gotta do one now.
you gotta kill
You're on the
him,
fucking team.
Hank. It's high noon, Hank.
You
It's
have
high
to do
noon,
your
Hank.
best harp.
Caleb, say the thing. Say
Oh
the.
yeah, do
That's
the
what you say, Caleb. You
thing.
know, it's
Give
just-
us a send off. You know, you always do a. You know, like that. Do the voice.
you know, like,
Do the
well,
voice.
Alex, we really appreciate you
Oh,
coming
no.
in and giving
No,
us
not
all these
that,
questions.
not that,
He's
not that.
that.
I
You know,
want the
next time you listeners,
No, I
y'all
want the
check on
Western
in.
voice. Give me the Western
I've been
voice.
thinking about
Well,
using
that
the
one-
narrator for all the shows. What do you
Oh,
think
go
about
for
that?
it.
All right,
Yes.
then,
One
Yes.
narrator.
then
Cool.
do this and say like.
Only if there's more narrator.
See
Till
you-
next. Yeah. See you next
Dude,
time.
drop the name of the planet.
Or see you, Space Cowboy.
Oh, that's a good line.
That's
Can we
not even
trademark
copyrighted.
I've never
That's
heard that
probably not
before.
even copyrighted.
But if it
honestly,
is,
they're
we're
not going to
fucked.
stop you. Who's going to
Okay,
listen to
well,
this shit
I
for
drank all
that?
my water.
Alexandria, thank you so much for hosting this. This was a blast. Thank you to all of our listeners for submitting questions. Love them all. Thanks to all of the support we've gotten this whole show.
So much
Fucking
support.
crazy.
It's honestly
Thank you, guys.
astounding.
Actually unbelievable. Thanks to all my players. Y'all are awesome.
You're
We
welcome.
did it. We wrapped a campaign. And until next time, what do you want me to say, Karen?
Just say it. I don't know.
Keep your eyes to the sky.
Yeah. Keep your eyes. Yeah. Say that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Flying.
Keep on flying.
You could say something
See you
like,
later, space cowboy. Until next time, little jackdaws, rooks, ravens, hell, the sparrows can come along too. We'll see you in the sky next time.
Boom, boom.
That's very good. That's very good.
Just do it in post. man.
Dum, dum. Just end with the dum dum. That's all that matters, really.
The CSI.
No, the Santa Claus thing. That's the Sounds good.